Hi friends, it's Philly. Welcome to my kitchen, and I'm running a little late today, but it is my baking day, and traditionally I choose a weekend preceding Christmas to do my baking, so my cookies are their freshest and their most delicious to celebrate during the holiday. But I always wanted to be early enough that I can also give away some of those cookies to the people or places I traditionally give them away to, just to show, giving, the reason for the season, right? And spreading some joy. So welcome to my kitchen. As you can see, I have not done much to set up or get ready, which is why I was running late. Just to be totally honest, we worked out today, came home, picked up groceries, unloaded said groceries, grabbed a quick lunch. I threw some things together to get ready for this stream, and that is it. No shower. I think the only makeup I have on is mascara. So you're getting it real today. But hey, you know what? We're all in our homes just doing our thing, and we're being very real all the time. So this is an opportunity for me to be really real with you. So happy holidays, no matter what holiday you observe this month, or if you don't observe any holidays, I welcome you to my stream, because food is the great equalizer, and it's the great, I think it brings people together, right? All over the world, people come together to break bread, and today we're breaking some cookies, not literally, but we're making cookies. So let me tell you a little bit about what's on the docket, so let me get my notes. Now traditionally, when I would be making cookies, I would tell you that I have Christmas music playing, but since it's a YouTube live, I cannot, because I will be tagged and banned for infringement, so we're going to be very good, and that's why I won't keep this on the entirety of my baking, because my baking will go on for most of the day, but it'll be a couple hours, and then I will turn it off. But this is what's on the docket today. I'm going to start off with making the Rugelach dough. And that's something I've made for years after a Christmas cookie exchange that I had with friends in a play group. When our bigs, who are now adults, used to be little, we got together in a play group that we met at a place called Gymboree that had, actually play groups for parents and their children, where their children, learn different skills, like when they were super little, but really it was just a chance to get to see other parents and enjoy. So we decided to make it less expensive and just get together on our own. And this recipe is one that really stood out when we had a cookie exchange as a group. And my friend who made this one is Jewish, and she made Rugelach. And it's funny because when I last made this last year, I remember feeling awkward about putting the spelling, because the spelling that was on her recipe that she gave me was Rugalach, and I've never seen that spelling. So I put a recent, so even when I sent out stuff for the stream, I put her spelling, but I put the spelling that most people are familiar with, which is Rugelach, but that's Rugelach. And Rugelach is basically a delicious dough that's enhanced with cream cheese, and you roll it out in a circle, and then you cut these pie shape, or you cut it like a pizza pie, and you roll it up like a crescent roll. And this year I'm going to try 2 new flavors for the insides that I haven't done before, so I'm really excited about that. So we'll make the dough, we'll chill it, and then I'll be making those cookies later on in the stream. After I make the Rugelach dough, I'm going to make my Anise Cookies live. So I made them last year, I made a video, but I'm going to make them live and have that churning while I'm making another cookie, because, and speaking of which, I need to get out my, don't make me forget, I need to get out my puff pastry, because we're going to be making some simple cookies, which are Palmiers. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And those I want to share just because they are a great quick cookie for you to make at any point during the year. And I first learned about them through Ina Garden. So, and then lastly, I'm going to be making, besides actually putting together my Rugelach, I'm going to be making this shortbread. And my sister, as many of you might know, is gluten-free. She is not celiac, but she has quite the stomach distress when she eats gluten. So for years now, she's been gluten-free and a much happier person, although it does make life a little trickier. And she does miss some of the traditional things that she's used to having. And while around us there's a lot more places that offer great goods that are gluten-free, this year I found a recipe by the Loopy Whisk, which makes, I think, all the stuff on hers is gluten-free. And I've been eyeing a lot of her things, and I'm going to make her shortbread cookies, because I always make shortbread, and I'm going to make these gluten-free, and we'll see how they are. So lots on the docket today, and so wishing you and yours well, and let's see who's joining the chat. So let's take a peek. Let me bring my laptop over so I can see better. So hi Eugenia, you're baking too. So Eugenia, let me know what you're baking. And Barbara too, yes. So ladies, let me know what you're going to be baking this weekend. And I'm Phil. Archie, you're baking. It's a bake-a-thon. We can all bake together, chit-chat. I love it. I love it. That's wonderful. And Eugenia said she's baking cookies. She's making candy and syrup. You might get some bread and some raised cornmeal rolls. And also making elderberry syrup with my frozen berries. Wow, Eugenia, I love what's on your docket. That sounds fabulous. Very exciting. So friends, I'm going to just move this a little bit so that I can see all better. I might need to bring it a little bit closer, a wee bit closer. Okay. And I want to show you something that I haven't been baking, and I've been dying to, but just haven't had the time. So I got to show you something. I might gross y'all out, so let me just get it real quick. So there's something I'm not intending to, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a Halloween scare here on this near Christmas. Look at this interesting concoction. So these are two of my sourdough starters, and you can see they have been ignored of late. I'm going to put them back in their little cave of ignorance, right? And so as you all know, I love making sourdough, but in the summer not so much, because it really makes our place especially heated. Nobody really wants to put their oven on super high heat for a long time, because you have to preheat it for a good hour before, with the Dutch oven in there, before you make. So in any event, I have not made it of late, and I meant to make it all fall, but it just was a busy fall for me. So it has been ignored, and I will be making a video in the new year of not revamping, what would we call that? Bringing that all to life, because people who have been making sourdough for years assure me that yes, even that black one, the one that's gotten quite dark, that it is absolutely okay, that yes, my sourdough starter is screaming, feed me, but beyond that, I can revive it. So, so I will be doing a video about that, because there is some time that has to go by between when you try to revive it to seeing if it's reviving, just to assure people who have forgotten their sourdough that all is not lost. So that's to come in the new year. But in any event, it's lovely to see you all. And Matt, oh no, oh! Can y'all hear me now? Thank you, Maddie. And no one told me they couldn't hear me. I'm seeing y'all chit-chatting, and no one told me that you can't hear me. Oh my goodness, that is a hoot. That's the first time. Matt, I just forgot to plug it in. So, oh, so you could hear me. It was using my phone mic. All right. Oh, good. Good. All right. So friends, I'm glad you could still hear me banter, which I don't know. Maybe y'all wanted to forget that. But thank you, Maddie. I appreciate the heads up about that. And by the way, just from Mom to Matt, are you good for the whole Wegmans run today? Can you just give me a thumbs up if that's going to work? Ah, thank you. Oh, I got something from lunch that's in my teeth. So I need my water. Get a little sip here. So we're going to begin. And before beginning, I have to tell you, I've mentioned this last year, this here is something that my mom gave me that my grandma, my dad's mom, gave her, and it is near and dear to me. It is like I call it my, I don't know, I kind of call it my cookie board, but really it's good for bread, cookies, anything, any kind of pastries. And I believe my grandpa made this for my grandma, and she used it when she was making cookies or breads or anything. So
This is very special to me, so when I make cookies and I have this out, it makes me think of my grandma. So that's always a good stuff. And coming up, by the way, this will be my last live stream, but coming up in next week on the 27th is I'm going to be dropping the video of my grandma's pecan rolls. So yes, and I used this for that. So anywho, you'll see that. But thank you, Maddie, for that. And Matt, good, so you're good to go. Thanks for that. And I will figure out a way to exchange, for me to reimburse you, Matt. We'll figure out what works best for you. But back to the cookies. So first on my docket is making the Rugelach. So one of the things I noticed, because we went to the grocery store and I had to get more butter and I had to get the cream cheese, is they weren't softened. So what I did, I tried a little hack, so we'll see how well it did. Let's see here. Oh, that didn't do too bad. So what I did was in my microwave, let me see how the butter, oh, nice. Oh, this worked quite well. Wonderful. So, you know, there's so many hacks around that are, let me see how my third one is. I'm sorry, I'm digressing. Oh, I do need a little, okay, I need to get that one boosted. So there's so many hacks around, friends, about how to soften butter quickly. You know, in fact, I just saw one this morning from someone I follow on Instagram, Roma Bakery, and she had a great hack. And so if you're on Instagram and you go to her, it's one of her more recent videos she made about softening butter, and it was a great hack. But you know, that's more for instant, like I need to have softened butter in minutes. So it was a great hack for that. For me, I knew I was going to need to soften quite a few things. So what I wanted to do was figure out a way, one second, to soften it just like in an hour, because you know we got home, we're unloading, and I'm like, this needs to soften. Both my, let me get my towel, both my cream cheese for the Rugelach and also the butter. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together because you know I sometimes can be smart. And one thing I decided to do was, what if because you know how I love my microwave for keeping things warm, I thought, what if I just warm up my microwave? So what I did was I got some water boiling, a small amount, in a measuring cup, and then I took it out, wiped some, because there was some condensation, you know, from it, and then I put all of these in there because it was a nice warm space, and just let them sit. So it was about an hour. Well, everything is nicely softened. So if you have an hour to soften things, that works without having to manage the timing that the other one does for Roma Bakery's butter softening. So this worked. So if you ever are in the need of, you have an hour to wait, this works just fine. In your microwave, again, you don't microwave them. You're boiling some water. You take out the said water, put everything back in there, close the door, and just let it sit for an hour. And that worked quite well. But meanwhile, I'm waiting for, okay, so I'll put this one in because I need this one for my, what do I need it for? Let me just check real quick, friends. So this is not my staged usual stream. I'm just letting you all know. So I hope you all have a lot of grace today because I'm literally just in my kitchen baking. So I believe this one is I think it's for my shortbread. Just look where I put it down. And for my shortbread, yeah, she wants some softened because I did want to make sure that she wanted the shortbread softened. And so I'm going to put that in just for a little bit. So I got it boiling. I'm taking it out. I'm putting this in. And I'm just closing, turning off my microwave, just closing, letting it all sit. Okay. Boiling water in. And what I should have made tea. That would have been nice. All right, so first let's make this Rugelach dough. Let me just, oh, that is quite hot. All right. So I hope everyone's Saturday is well, and I hope everyone is gearing up for some festivities. I feel like I noticed of this week quite a few people, and I'm wondering if they were from Europe, where people take a longer holiday than people do here in the States. Many folks just saying, yes, I'm off for the next 4 weeks. And I got to tell you, I was a little jealous. And I have a nice little break. Being an educator, we tend to get nice breaks, you know, between the holidays and after the new year. I think it's like about a week and a half. But I noticed a lot of people saying, yeah, like I'm off for the next 4 weeks, which I thought was lovely. Okay, so for my Rugelach dough, and by the way, down below you'll see links to the gluten-free shortbread cookies as well as my Anise cookies I'll be making next. It shows the video which has the recipe like in the description of that video. The Rugelach I will be putting on, and I realized I was supposed to do that last year and I forgot, so I promise I will do that this year. I will get that recipe. It's not that long of a recipe, so I'll list the ingredients. I don't know if I will have time to write all the directions, but at least I'll have the ingredients, and you can always go back to this to see, what I did. But it's a very simple dough, which I love that. I love when things are simple. It's literally just cream cheese, flour, and butter. So we're going to blend the cream cheese, flour, and butter, and then we're going to divide that dough into 3 parts. So that's why this is a good one to start with and get that chilling. So let me first get my bowl. And we need here a 1/2 pound of cream cheese, or 8 ounces, and that's what I have here. And you would want to just use the regular. You don't want to use low fat in this application. Okay. So I'm just going to put that in. And then we have 2 sticks of butter, which also equal a 1/2 pound. And these are softened, so everything's softened, so it mixes up nicely. So there's my 1. And here's my 2. I'm so glad that hat worked. That was nice. So my Maddie made some delicious brown butter chocolate chip cookies, because you had I don't know if Maddie's still on, but if you are still on, Matt, you had a cookie exchange. How did the cookie exchange go last night? I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet. So Eugenia said butter is outrageously expensive here now. I have noticed butter going up for sure, it definitely. And I have certain butter brands that I like. And so actually, I usually use Keller butter. I just find it's a really consistent and delicious butter. But there was a brand that I wasn't familiar with that was on sale this week. So I actually bought because I needed 2 pounds, so I bought my 2nd pound of that. Let me show you all, see if you've heard of this one. I looked up the reviews, and it had great reviews. I've just never heard of it or used it, but it had a great sale. Saved $3 on this. And so I think this is called Challenge Butter. Made from milk from cows, not treated with RBST, which I don't know, but I know it's a chemical, some sort of hormone. So yeah, so I don't know if anyone's heard of Challenge Butter, but I am going to be trying that once my Keller is gone. But you're right, Eugenia, it has definitely gotten expensive. All right, so to this, we have basically a pound of yumminess here, a 1/2 pound of cream cheese and a 1/2 pound of unsalted butter. To this, we are going to be adding 2 cups of flour. So let me get my flour out, just regular all-purpose flour. This is not a gluten-free recipe, but certainly you could try it. And in fact, if you're watching this or watch this later and have ever made gluten-free Rugelach, please let me know how they turned out. And maybe link me to your recipe, because it would be nice to know. All right, so I'm going to get this spooned in. Get my cups. You can see this is not my typical prep, because we are busy just like you all getting things ready. But I did want to let you into my kitchen while I was baking. So 2 cups of flour. So I always make sure my flour, isn't packed in there so that I don't use too much flour. This recipe does not have the measurements of ounces, so I can't refer to that. But certainly, I think the gluten-free one I'm doing later does have weight measurements, and we know with baking that that's always the best way. You get your most exact amount. So we have 1 cup, and we're going to do 1 more cup of that. So if you are measuring with a cup measure, you just don't want to pack it in. Sugar, brown sugar you want to pack in, not flour. So I'm just spooning it in, making sure none of it was really compacted. And I think that Maddie must have gone off. So my Maddie. All right, so let's see here. I see Eugenia said something. She said, well, Archie says that they're lazy. You are not lazy, absolutely. And yes, oh, I see what you're saying, Arch. Very handy having your own personal technician online when streaming. It really is nice. I know he's not here with me. Like before, when he was still living with us, it was really nice because he could help solve problems. But I appreciate him more than he would ever know. And Eugenia says, I make Rugelach shortbread, lime coolers, triple ginger cookies, plus others if I feel motivated. Yes. And Archie, what do you bake? And Barbara, if you're still on, what do you bake? Would love to know. By the way, so just because, see, I'm a teacher, so I'm a wordsmith. So I see that you spelled it Rugelach, which I've also seen. Again, on my recipe, it's Rugalah. So I'm just wondering, Eugenia, have you seen Rugelach spelled other ways? Because, like I said, the way I see most often is with a CH, which is just neither here nor there, but just interesting. All right, I'm going to keep my flour close, and I do have more flour in my pantry. Just going to keep that close with my flour spoon. So then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this over my mixer and get it mixing. Okay. Let me turn you all over so you can see over here a little better. This won't take that long, so I'm not going to bring it all the way over. Of course, you want to go slow because when you're using the flour, it can totally puff up. Which is funny because in movies and stuff, they do that on purpose and it looks all fun. I'm like, but it isn't fun cleaning up now, is it? So it's why I'm always super careful. I also have one of those shields that you can use that helps keep the flour in. So, but it's just kind of a pain to get going. All right, so it has started, so I'm going to go it up a little bit more. I see there's some dry ingredients down below, so I want to get those up. So I'm going to use my spatula and get those up. Just going to stop it a second, bring it up, because I want all the goodness to come. Just move that a little bit. So I'm just trying to get those dry ingredients that are at the bottom. What we just are looking for this dough initially, and Eugenia, you'll have to let me know if this one's similar to yours or not. Again, this is my friend who's Jewish and was in her family. This is the way her family made it. But I'm sure Rugelach, just like so many of these cookies, are made all different ways. There we go. Excellent. You have to let me know if this is similar, though, at all. I'm going to get this back in. Oh, I almost had one of those appliance issues that I have so often here. My mixer is quite kind to me, I find. My mixer tends to not be a problem, so I'm appreciative that this KitchenAid has been with me since I was married. I feel like for many of us, I don't know if it's like that here in other countries, but I feel like for many of us in this country at least, we, oftentimes get, or we ask to, like for a wedding gift of one of these to be an investment that's a little pricey for us to do on our own, and then it lasts and lasts and lasts. All right, so this is good. I'm going to bring this up a second. I do not recommend this method, but it does help me get some of the extra dough off without having to scrape. There we go. You just have to be careful that it doesn't whiz everywhere. I'm going to take off my extra and then come back over to y'all. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to take this off to make it a little bit easier getting some of this. For me, I like to get as much of it off. I'd much rather this dough make its way into a yummy cookie instead of just into soaking warm, soapy water, because then it's kind of a waste. Whoops, that went somewhere. All right, let's see. Okay, I got most of it at least. Just give it a quick rinse. We'll get this soaking in no time. So I will need this eventually totally cleaned off. So I will be doing some washing during the stream because I need this for my anise cookies. And now let's bring this back over here and bring y'all over and show you how I do this next. And this is similar to what I did, or not similar, it's definitely like what I did last year, because I'm going to divide this into 3 parts and I'm going to put it on plastic wrap.
How's it going, wifey?
It's going well. How's it going with you? Hubs is a little in the doghouse right now, aren't you, Hubs? Well, I'm just teasing you because you asked me a question during when I was trying to get ready for the stream in my last few minutes and I was already late. He was asking questions that could have been asked earlier and I was getting frustrated. So he did not have gentle wife at that point. He had teacher wife, right? Wouldn't you agree? You probably felt like you were getting scolded. You're used to it. So the bottom drawer, by the way, nicer stuff of that can all be located in the bottom drawer. I have a whole big new white thing because that is like just, okay, just so you know.
All good.
Yep. There's 2 drawers you can look at, that drawer and the one that's in the spare bedroom, the bottom drawer there, okay? Okay, just letting you know. Okay, so friends, this has been all mixed up, you can see. And what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna get a better spatula, is I just wanna divvy this up 3 ways. Where's my, here we go. It's gonna divvy this up. And then we're gonna let this chill, because this needs to be nice and cold when we roll it out. There we go. So let's see. Oh, you use challenge butter every time it's on sale, so you're happy with it, Eugenia. Good to know. That is good to know, because you know, everything's very expensive. Usually I use a store brand, but if I can get Tillamook butter, I'm in heaven. Now, I've had their ice cream. I've never had their butter. I don't know if our store has their butter, which is so weird if they've had their ice cream, but I do find that stores are weird that way, you know. They have some things, but not others. Okay, so now you just eyeball it. To be honest, you're just eyeballing getting this into 3 equal-ish amounts. And don't worry about the shape, because you'll shape it once you get the plastic rolled up. So I don't get too worried about this, although it is a little thick, so just getting it off the spoon, that's way too small, of course, so I'm going to have to get, this one's going to be big. Yep, okay. And I think I'm going to get one more utensil to help with this, because this is quite sticky. All right, so let me get some of this here. So let's see, that. Yeah, we need more of this, maybe that. And I need a little bit more in this back one, I think. Let me see what we got here. I think I've got quite a bit in here that'll go in the back one. So you're just looking for equal-ish portions, because that'll help you in your final rollout that your cookies will be similar size. Well, I think that's going to work pretty well that way. I think I did pretty well. And it kind of just works out that way. I think, you know, those estimation skills we use a lot in our cooking. There's certain things we have to do that are exact, but then other times estimating is quite fine. All right, so I'm gonna get this filled with water so I can wash it out for the anise cookies. I'm actually excited because I just think that's such a unique recipe my grandma used to make that I'm excited to kind of show how that process goes in the midst of a full live stream. So then what I do is I just kind of am trying to get this eventually into a round disc. So how I achieve that is I just bring in one side, then I bring in the other side, the third, and then the fourth. And then when I turn it over is when I shape. And you just try to, you know, smooth it out into a disc shape. So when you take off the plastic wrap, it's a little bit easier rolling it out. Okay, so there's one. Let me get my other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll shape that one and get this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. So let's shape this out now. There we go. So you're letting the plastic wrap kind of do the work so you don't have to get all sticky. Later we will have to get our hands in on this. But for right now, we're just trying to get a general shape that'll help us when we're rolling it. So really easy. Like this dough, if we were trying to work with it now, it would be impossible. It definitely needs to be chilled, but this part does work pretty easy. And I'm gonna flatten it out just a little bit more. Okay, so these go in the fridge to chill. And we are not going to be chilling because we have work to do. But the dough can chill, at least. There we go. Let's see. So she's seen, Eugenia said you've seen several variations. And so far seems pretty similar. My recipe came from a Jewish cookbook. And Archie said that he's back, had time to take bread out of the oven and cook 15 pies. You have been busy today, Arch. Well done. Well done, my friend. Roast chicken and vegetables in a dark roast gravy. That sounds delicious. And I'm sure your place smells divine. I know, right, Eugenia? Come on, Arch. Get like a little one of those things called that my mat uses. Oh, goodness gracious. The things that go up in the air. Not the robot. Oh, what are those? Drones. Get a drone over our way. You can actually have it come my way with both pies. Drop one off to me and keep on till you get to Eugenia. That's how we can work it. And they're in the oven. So wonderful. And Eugenia said it's still 10 a.m. here. Yes, it's 1. It's 1:12. Definitely a late start today. And Archie says, it's not always smooth running, trying to film a video when we're cooking, but the end product makes me feel good. I agree, Archie. Well said. And Archie said it's 6 p.m. there. And he said, bet Hubs is chilling. You know what Hubs is doing, actually? He's wrapping. And how he got into trouble was that literally I was setting up, and I was late. So I was late anyway. So it was, I was going to start at 12, then it was 12:30, and then it was 12:35, and I was still rushing around. And he started asking me about where the wrapping paper was and all this. And I was like, you're going to ask me this now? So I was not a happy camper. I'm being real. I mean, I'll put it out there. I was not a happy camper because I was like, we had all morning to ask these questions. But you know what? At the end, I do things that drive him crazy too. So always forgiveness. So yes, he is oh yeah. So Archie, I'm going to let you guess that one. Do you think he's wrapping beatbox style, or do you think he's wrapping Christmas style? I'll let you figure that out. That was a good one though, Arch. I enjoyed that. All right, so now my grandma's Anise Cookies. So this is one that's perfect to do now because we can do other things while it is just taking a good old long time in our mixer. So I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to bring her recipe over here so I can look and talk at the same time. So I'm going to talk to you about it while, and I'm noticing my head's cut off. Why is my head cut off? Well, that's interesting. 1 second, friends. Let's see here. Let me just put it up just a little bit. Yes, wouldn't the wrapping be fun? I agree. Oh, this is not cooperating. There we go. Okay, just going to do this. I'm going to have it go this way so I can wash. So my grandma, the first time, and I mentioned this in my video, the first time I read my grandma's recipe when I was prepared to actually cook it, I took an intake of breath because, when I was reading the recipe, which is very simple, it involves 6 eggs, a pound of confectionery sugar, which is powdered sugar, a teaspoon of anise flavoring, and you stir together and you mix for a half an hour. Yes, you heard that right. Oh, and she puts in parentheses, by hand. Mix by hand for half an hour. And I thought to myself, well, that is a way to get a workout, right? So as much as I like to get a workout, and I actually worked out earlier today, I really don't have a desire to work out by mixing something for a half hour. I'm just going to be real to you. So, and I have this wonderful KitchenAid that I love that I've had since I got married. So I thought, if I make bread dough in my KitchenAid, if I make scone dough and I make pie crust dough, all that stuff I make in there, certainly I can make Anise cookies. So I did. So when I made the first time, I put it in there and I let it go. I think I let it go, wait, that's not my soap. I think I let it go for like about 20 minutes, and maybe it was 15. And I went by the latter part of her directions to help me because she said, I'm sorry, not from her directions. I actually did some research and looked up other people's Anise cookies so that I could get some ideas of this whole 30 minutes of beating. And so you're just looking for a change in the color and consistency. So when I start, I'm going to bring you over there to see it. And then I'll bring you over during to check on it from time to time. Probably just one more time. And then at the end, I'll bring you over there so that you can see how it's changed. And it's really, it's very cool, not to do by hand, but it's a really cool process, the fact of how this dough is made with patience and love, and it really creates such a unique and delicious cookie. And what I like about the Anise cookie is it's not heavy like other cookies. Like it's just, It is not overly sweet, even though it involves a lot of confectioner's sugar. It's just not overly sweet, in my opinion. And it's not a rich cookie. And if you think about it, it's made of eggs, sugar, flour. So there's actually no butter in this recipe. And so I think that's why it doesn't seem like a very rich cookie, but so good. And if any of you have seen those pictures, I posted one of them when I was, promoting this live stream. It definitely like it's a unique and beautiful cookie. So we've gotten this washed. Just gonna get the rest of these rinsed so I can dry everything. There we go. I'll get these on the drying rack. Okay, so let me get everything dried and then we'll get started. I'm gonna get out my eggs actually I should have gotten them out earlier to let the chill off. I'm kind of flexible with that. Like I'm not gonna put my panties in a wad about that. It'll be fine, right? Everything will be fine. I think we just need to relax a little bit about some things. Okay. There we go, get this dried. Got some wetness here. But yes, I love this KitchenAid. Let me see what y'all are saying. Somebody somewhere would pay to see him wrapping. Not sure where though or how much. Wait! What? Archie, really? You've never made cookies? Well, not that you need to. You make so many other lovely things, but I'm surprised. I think aside from Jell-O, which Jell-O is I talked about many streams ago, one of the first things I ever cooked, so to speak, because it was, I was a Jell-O child. We were back in that Jell-O time where there were so many Jell-O commercials, there were Jell-O cookbooks, there were so many things you could do with Jell-O. And that was kind of a cool, even though it involved boiling water, it was kind of a neat thing for children to experiment with in the cooking realm with creativity. But other than that, I feel like cookies probably were the next thing I helped my mom make. And I'm sure it was purely to be able to get some of the cookie dough that was still on the bowl, although that is big time no-no these days. And everyone has to take care of themselves, but I still am a no-no person about it, meaning I do it. I take the risk. One day it might bite me in the butt, but I do take the risk. I've licked beaters of cake dough, cookie dough, all those things. So I'm gonna get this set up over here. Oh, actually, I take that back. I'm not, because I'm gonna measure my ingredients here. So in here, we need a pound of confectionery sugar and 6 eggs. So this makes a lot of cookies, actually. So and I did this last time, I'm gonna have this recipe. So I'm gonna be doing 3 eggs and a ½ pound of confectionery sugar. So I do wanna measure that, because confectionery sugar, we wanna make sure the weight is all measured properly. So I'm thinking what bowl I might do with this. Let me see what I got here. Let's see here, friends. This should be good. Okay, so we'll use this bowl. And I just bought some confectionery sugar, but I do think I have some left, and I have not yet gotten it out. So you're going to all get to see a very disorganized pantry, a little bit crowded here. But I do think I've got some in here. So I just need to check and see. Yep, I do see some back there. Okay. I'm not sure how much it is poundage-wise. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just remove some of it. Let's see. That is a lot of confectionery sugar. Wowza. I have something else there. God, I have a lot of stuff in here that I don't even know what it is. Hubs would be so happy if I would just clean that out. I have got a lot going on in there. All right, but that's another day. I'm not going to get distracted. So this is we definitely don't need all this. I'm going to measure, because this is probably, I would say this is going to be at least a pound right in here. Let me see. Yeah, this is 22.33 ounces. So yeah, so we are going to put this on, and we're going to measure 8 ounces for ½ pound. So I just want ½ pound of this. Okay, so I'm putting this on here, clear it. So let's just get this measured. Looking for 8 ounces. Oops. Okay. I knew I was going to do that. I went a little far. So this is another cookie. I do wonder what it would be like gluten-free for my sister because she grew up on these too. I think I'm just going to this is one I have to experiment sometime with and see how it would work with gluten-free flour. There we go. 8.01. That is pretty good. So we'll put this away. I don't know if I need this for anything else, but I'll just keep it handy just in case. So we have 8 ounces, ½ pound. And then to that, we are also going to be putting 3 eggs. I'm going to keep this handy because we will need this for other things. I'm going to get my 3 eggs. I don't have my farm eggs today. Today, these are Egglins. So it just kind of depends what's convenient if I go to the market or if I'm getting it from the grocery store. So we're going to put 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And we need a ½ teaspoon of anise flavoring. All right, and I have that, so that's anise extract. There we go. But I'm going to keep these out so they can come to room temperature. Okay, so 3 eggs, and I'm going to add that to the eggs actually. Okay, that's almond, anise. Let me get my ½ teaspoon. Whoopsie. All right, ½ teaspoon. There we go, ½ teaspoon. Excellent. I actually changed my biscotti this year. I'll tell you about that because of doing my anise cookies. So I'll tell you what I did with my biscotti this year that's different because I've made the same biscotti for many, many years. So what I'm going to do now with these 3 eggs, extract, and the ½ pound of confectioner's sugar is I'm going to be putting this in here and going over to my mixer. And I'm going to put it low to get it going. And we're going to mix it for about 20 minutes, but we will check it at 15 minutes to see how it looks and how it's changed. And I will bring you back here to kind of keep an eye on it. And I forgot to get, oh my goodness, I forgot to get the Palmier, this stuff out. Oh shucks, I meant to do that. I completely forgot and wanted this defrosted. So we might have to change up what we're doing. Not the actual cookie, but the order of our events. Let me see here. Okay. You know what? You just can't trust me, friends. You just can't trust me. Okay, so I have some puff pastry. I'm going to take this out. I'm just going to let that defrost there. I think it takes about 30 minutes to defrost. 20 minutes. Okay, so it'll be about the time that this dough is done. Oh, I knew I was going to do that. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, so let me get this over here. Let me bring you back over. Okay. Bring you here. Get this in. Okay. Lock it and get this going slow. So the first part I do have to manage a little bit because I do want to make sure it gets combined, and I want to make sure underneath that we check it and bring that back up. So I'm going to go a little faster now that it has starting to come together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring you over here because, let me show you. I feel like I want to bring you over here because this part is interesting to see how it changes. And I know, okay, I got to do one more thing to figure this out. I got to go like this, and I got to go like, there we go. That works. Okay, DS, welcome. I just saw you pop on. Okay, so we're making anise cookies right now, so I wanted you to see kind of where it's coming together right here. Okay, so I'm gonna stop now for a second. I'm gonna bring this up, and I want to make sure and work the sides down and check the bottom too. So I just want all this sugar to get into the mixture. And again, this is half of the recipe because it makes quite a few cookies. And more, and obviously if you're giving away all the cookies, it's great to make them, but for me, for my purposes, I liked making half the recipe. That was much more manageable for me. Okay. My grandma, she was such a badass. She just made so many. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn this up. And I'm not gonna whip this. I'm just gonna let this keep going. So I'm trying to think. No, I want it to stay there. I'm just gonna keep it at that speed. And I feel like keeping it at that speed enabled it to definitely, you know what, like just have its moment and get together. So what we're gonna do is we are going to check it in about, I don't know, I'm gonna set the timer for 15 minutes. So we'll check it in about like 8 minutes and see how it's going, okay? So let me set the timer, 1 second. Let's see here. I'm gonna set it for 15. And we're just gonna notice the changes it makes, okay? The changes in the color, the changes in the texture. And so you can see like right now, it's kind of smooth. See how it's like already changed and gotten smooth? You know what? I'm just gonna beat it down one more time. This will be the last time. I don't feel like I don't remember having to do this constantly. I just feel like I just want to, for this initial mix, get that going, get any extra off. There we go. So notice right now I would say it's kind of like a really rich butter yellow. Like almost like farm butter, you know? Okay, so we're gonna let that go. Let me bring y'all back up here. 1 second. Bring y'all back up here. And bring you, all right. And bring you over. See our little nativity scene. There we go. And bring you there. Okay. All right. Bring that over there. Excellent. Okay. So I set the timer, and we can check it. So DS, I'm so glad you came on. Oh no, DS, we did notice. We did notice. And let's see, let me go back here. Did anyone notice if the Christmas dolls thing was moved? The Christmas doll? You're hysterical. The nutcracker was moved. So, DS, okay. I have to say, I'm reading your comments in the back, and so I'm not sure what to do because I literally just moved it now, but you had already popped on, but you were seeing, because I wanted to do it when it was hiding over here. So like you guessed it before it was actually moved, because when the stream started, it wasn't moved because I kept it in the same spot. But during this little time of doing a close-up of the KitchenAid, that's when I moved it. So do we let him win when he guessed that it had done before it had moved? I don't know, friends. You're going to have to let me know. Wait, Eugenia, it wasn't moved yet. So when we first started, if you roll back, I had it in its normal position. So its normal position, let me show y'all. Its normal position was here, and that's where it was when I started. But then just a moment ago when I did the dough sequence, I moved it because I figured I had to move it sometime when the camera wasn't on that corner. So yes. I didn't expect there to be any gray area. So when you guessed, I hadn't moved it yet. But now that we've gone back into frame and then we were chatting about it, so kind of, yeah, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm such a teacher. You can tell I'm a teacher. I'm like, with my students, so wait, what's fair? What's fair? I don't know. So DS, we are making, and we'll see, Eugenia, we are making, right now on the docket is my grandma's Anise cookies. We've already made the Rugelach dough, and it's chilling right now till I can roll it out. So, and then I forgot to take out my puff pastry that I'm making my palmiers. So that is out right now. I think it actually does better when it's on the, not the marble, but the granite. So I'm going to put it there. And it should be defrosted about time the dough is done. And by the way, let me just tell you a little about the dough. When the dough is done, we are going to be adding, let me see here, 1 3/4 to 2 cups of flour. And we're only using enough to make the dough not too stiff, not too runny. And that was the other part of my grandma's recipe that cracked me up, because I'm like, what does that mean? So I watched lots of videos to try to see. And the last time I made it a little stiff, because and actually what I loved was how they looked. So I have to decide today if I want to make it less stiff so they look more like grandma's. But if you notice the cookies, they look like they have these little caps. They look like they have frosting, but they don't. It's crisp, but it almost made it like a little top to it. But my grandma's never did. So hers was more runny, and so it would just spread and make this almost completely flat top that was just beautiful. And then we drop them onto greased pans. Actually, I didn't use greased pans. I dropped them onto some of the silicone mats that I have. And then you have to let them stand for 10 hours, at least 10 hours. So what'll happen for me is by the time I do that, I will cook them in the morning, just because they have to develop their feet. So I will make sure and cook these in the morning then, first thing. While we're having our coffee, maybe we'll have some with coffee then. So those are my grandma's Anise cookies. Yes, so, oh, thank you, DS. But DS, so you are, so you know what? You're the one that brought it up, so you're gonna be a winner again. I'm decided right now. So even though you brought it up before it was moved, you got the conversation going, and you brought it up. So I'll find another lovely special something to send your way for you and Ruby. So congratulations, my friend. But it was just so funny because I see the conversation, I'm like, wait, I haven't moved it yet. But I do think it's hysterical. I think for whatever reason with my kitchen, even though that's where the salt and pepper shakers are, is where it has been since I put it there at the beginning. Everyone always thinks it's moved. By the way, let's check in on this dough and see how it looks. Oh, it doesn't look that much different, so I'm not gonna bring you there yet. I'll wait till it has more of a change. It's just getting more glossy. I just hopped on and saw. No, you didn't spoil it. You didn't spoil it. And I'm not sure, when you hopped on, DS, were we looking at the mixer bowl at that time? So you have to let me know. Because if we were just looking at the mixer bowl, you wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. But you thought of it, so I'm gonna, it still was the first one, and by the time I talked about it and you had the guests already there, you're gonna be the winner, my friend. Send him a pair of Hub's frilly pink and white socks. There you go. There you go. So was it before I went to the mixer, DS? I'm just curious. Was it before I went to the mixer? So, okay, while DS and I are figuring out the details, let me tell you about the biscotti I made, because I'm kind of in between where I can be. So last year I made, and for years I've made this Anise almond biscotti. And I made it because it made me think of my grandma's Anise cookies, and I hadn't tried them yet. I hadn't made them yet. So it was a way to bring my grandma into our Christmas cookies with the anise flavoring. And they're delicious. And I realize now that I didn't share that recipe after the stream last year, so I will definitely share this recipe. But since I was making my grandma's Anise cookies this year, I decided I wanted to make them a little different. I know a lot of my people in my family love the biscotti. I dip them, the half side of them, in chocolate. They're just absolutely delicious. They're great alone or dipped in tea or coffee or milk. So this year, when we were out experiencing the festivities in Haddonfield, New Jersey, they have a lovely, it's a lovely place to visit, especially on Fridays in December. And we went into a chocolate place called Mecca, and Hubs and I were picking out some truffles to have as a treat, and he picked out a maple pecan truffle. And that got me thinking, what if I could bring those flavors to the biscotti? So what I did on Thursday is I made my biscotti. I haven't dipped them yet. I'll be doing this today or probably tomorrow. And let me see if this, yeah, you can see it here. So what I did was, instead of the anise flavoring, I used maple, because I happen to have maple extract. I used maple flavoring, and instead of almonds, I used pecans. So you can see there the cut pecans, and then I will dip this whole side here into dark chocolate. So that is my way to, because Hubs loved his, that truffle, and so this was my way to kind of bring something he really enjoyed, and he enjoys the biscotti, into a biscotti, and kind of have the anise flavor stay true to my grandma's anise cookies. So this is another cookie I make, and I will include the recipe below later. Just give me a little bit of time, and I promise I won't forget this year to put it there. And I'll put what I usually do with the anise and almond, and in parentheses, I'll put the maple and pecan. Now, the only thing I would do differently, because we've tasted these without the chocolate, is I don't feel like the maple flavor came through, and I only used, I'm just looking here, I used a half a teaspoon of maple extract. I would use more. I think next year I'll try 3/4 teaspoon, and if that still's not enough, then do 1 teaspoon. I just don't want to overdo it, so that's the only thing I would do differently, is I would add more maple extract. I just don't feel like it came through. Like, you kind of taste a hint of it, but it's very hinty. It's not as strong as I would like. So that is a cookie that's already been made. Now, this is starting to get a little bit different, so I'm just going to show it to you. There we go. It's just super glossy. Just look at that gorgeous, I mean, such a gorgeous color. Okay, let's go on back. Now, I set the timer for 15 minutes. I think on the video I let it go 20. Whoopsie, there we go. So we'll just have to see. And right now there's 4 minutes left. So yeah, I'll probably let it go 20 minutes. Meanwhile, so for my palmiers, I'm going to get the cinnamon sugar. So I love a thing called elephant ears. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of the pastry called elephant ears, and it's like a puff pastry kind of treat. They're quite large, and they're cinnamon sugar. So, and I love cinnamon sugar. Like, that's one of my favorite things in the world. So what I want to do for palmiers, and palmiers are nice because you can just use puff pastry dough, and it's a very simple technique, and then you cut and bake them. So by the way, I need to look up my palmier oven time, because I need to make sure that's going. So let me just look it up real quick. Again, this is just real life. This is me just baking here on a Saturday. Let me just look real quick. And it was Ina Garden. I'd watched one of her shows, and she was, she's always so real, and she's so real about people's time that they have, and but wanting people to get together with others and entertain. And so she was talking about this was a great way to use puff pastry, and she preheats the oven to 450 degrees. Okay, so I'm gonna get that preheated. I'm gonna use my convection bake. So I'll do it at 425 since I'm using convection. And so basically all you're gonna do is you unfold the puff pastry onto the sugar mixture, and you pour the rest of it on top, and then you roll it out a bit. And you want them covered, and then you wrap them back up and cut them and put them onto parchment paper or silicone mats, whatever you're using. I'll use parchment paper today. So it's 450, and I'm just looking to see how long, about 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and you turn them for another 3 to 5. Okay, so mine will be a little quicker, so maybe 5 minutes, turn them in another 2 to 4. All right, I'm just talking to myself. There we go. So I have that. So let me get back, and let's get some cinnamon sugar mixed together. Let me just see how much she used for this one, because she uses just sugar with a little bit of salt. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt, because I do think the salt helps offset the sweetness of it. Let's see, a half cup. Okay, all right, I'm just looking. So I'll do a half cup total. There we go. Alrighty, friends. Oh, Mom, thank you. So which do you miss, Mom? Oh, it's pouring there. I know. You've got Florida is just covered with rain right now. And that's all going to be traveling up here. We're going to get it late Sunday into Monday. So let me get my sugar mixed. And I like it to have a good amount of cinnamon in there. I want to taste that cinnamon. I don't want it to be any question. I'm not going to give an exact with this because I don't need to. You know, it's just give a roundabout that looks to be about a half a cup of sugar, and I'll put half of it on the bottom and half of it on top. Actually, I'm going to leave this out because I'll need this for the Rugelach. And then I want my cinnamon. Let's see here. And I have my little mini whisk, which is perfect, getting the cinnamon incorporated. So I'm going to be pretty healthy with this. I'm going to put probably about a teaspoon of cinnamon there. And then after I mix it, I'll decide if that's enough. I want it to be quite cinnamony. To me, you can't have too much cinnamon. You just want it to really come through. But you remember those mom elephant ears? I don't know, where did we get those? Was it at the shore? Which, by the way, for those of you who aren't East Coast or New Jersey, specifically with Philly, the shore is the coastline. The coastline here, the Jersey Beach, we call it the shore. Yeah, I think that's cinnamony enough. Okay, so we're good there. I'm keeping my cinnamon nearby because we'll need it for the Rugelach. And my timer went off. I'm going to put it for another 5 minutes for my grandma's first step of the Anise cookies. Oh, and it just looks lovely. I'm going to turn it up just a tad. All right. And let's see how this is doing. Oh, it's still pretty frozen, man. My butter is softened for the shortbread, so that's good. I'm telling you, that softening method works wonders. I'm going to put this in my warm microwave just to help it defrost a little bit quicker. There we go. This is ready. While we're waiting, what I can do is I can get my stuff ready for my Rugelach. So we're doing the Rugelach 2 different ways. The one way is the traditional way with the walnuts. So I need to make sure, and I think I actually have some walnuts that are already ready. Whoops, sorry. Yep. Okay. So here are some chopped walnuts, although I might need them a little bit smaller because I need them quite small. Here, I'm going to get my mallet because you're rolling them up, and if they're big chunks, they won't stay in. So I do want to make sure. Now I remember, Mom, do you remember when we used to chop nuts? You had this nut grinder that, like I remember there was like a turn to it, and that's how we would get the nuts chopped for the Christmas cookies you'd make. I don't have that, so what I do, because I definitely don't need another gadget, is I just use a little bit of power. And what I do like is that some of the pieces get quite small, and I think it actually works really well with getting into the cookie. It almost becomes like a part of the dough, which is cool. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to do 2 different fillings. The one filling I'm going to do in my Rugelach this year that's different is I'm going to spread some fig jam and then sprinkle some pecans over there. So a fig and pecan filling is going to be one of them. And then the other one I'm going to do is chocolate. Now I used to put chocolate chips in there, which are good, but I've noticed whenever I see Rugelach, chocolate Rugelach, like at bakeries, or like if I see someone sharing pictures of them, they don't have chips. They're always a spread. So that's what I wanted to make this year, is make a spread. So instead of just having little bits of chocolate, it'll be spread across, and then they'll be beautiful too when you roll them, that you'll see those almost that darkness coming through. So those are the changes this year. So I'm going to make that filling right now, and I'm making it just for one. And so for that filling, the first thing we're going to do, by the way, is we are going to be putting some melted butter down. But then I looked up and I found a recipe that I liked from Bakes by Brown Sugar. And in it, she uses finely chopped chocolate, brown sugar, sugar, cocoa powder, and cinnamon. So I've got my cinnamon out. I need to get my cocoa powder, and I have my sugar out. I need to get my light brown sugar. So let me get that. It's here. Got my light brown sugar. And then I got to get my cocoa powder. And that one is going to not come out quite as easily as that brown sugar did, because that one's a little bit deeper in here. I wish this was a drawer so badly, because it'd be so much easier getting to the items that are in the back. Oh, that wasn't too bad. And I like Ghirardelli's unsweetened cocoa powder. So we have that. And then the chopped chocolate. So for the chopped chocolate, you could just finely chop it, but one of the things that we have, or at least I think we still have, yes, is my sister almost every year gives me a canister of this finely chopped chocolate that's from Williams-Sonoma that makes the best hot chocolate, hot cocoa. So I'm going to get that because it's already cut, and I might actually do a little less sweetener because that stuff is already pretty sweet. In fact, I think I am. I'm going to use the brown sugar but not the sugar because I think that'll be sweet enough. Let me check and see how our anise cookie. Oh, it's getting there. I think we just have a couple more minutes. No, I think just one more minute. So let's clear that, and let me show you. Let me show you how that looks. So it's almost done. Actually, I should have just brought everyone over there so you could see. So look how gorgeous. So it's gotten more of this, it's gotten a little bit lighter. It's funny, it looks darker here in the camera, but looks lighter for me in the bowl, much lighter than it was before. And it's just been working air and smoothing everything out. So let me bring the whole camera over because we're going to be adding some flour, but let me get the flour measured first. That would be helpful. So to this, and again, I'm having the recipe, we are going to be adding 2 3/4 to 2 cups flour. So, and we're just looking for enough flour till it's not too runny and not too stiff, which is the thing that cracks me up. So I'm going to stop this right now. I'm going to get my flour measured. We'll put this aside for the Rugelach. And in my flour, I'll put it where my confectioner sugar was. Okay, so in my flour, I might have to get more flour. So I'm going to just measure 2 cups of flour here. And this, I'm actually not as quite worried about my measurement because remember, we're stopping when the dough seems right, if that makes sense. So that's 1 cup of flour. So this is not going to be an exact measure. It's going to have to be based on how it looks, which does make it a little bit trickier. And I need to get more of my flour. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'm not expecting to use all this flour, but the point is to add it gradually. So, and I'm going to use, I can just use this. This will be fine. Now, it's funny. I'm noticing my video is very delayed. Interesting. I'm surprised it's so delayed as it is. Huh. Very interesting. Let me see. Make sure everything looks good on this end. Yeah, wow, that's interesting. All right, so let me bring y'all over. It does make it a little bit tricky if I'm kind of looking to try to see what people are seeing when it's that delayed. So I'm gonna bring y'all over here and look at my mess. Okay, there we go. Try to get you up there close and personal. All right, there we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to unlock and add some of this. Nope, I'm going to get it going. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm doing this quite slow. I'm just going to start. Let me just make sure. Let me just double check the recipe. Everything else we did, our eggs, our sugar, our anise flavoring. We're adding the flour just enough to make the dough not too stiff and not too runny. Okay. So we're just going to keep adding it. Let's see. Okay. And I'm going to have to, of course, put the sides down. So in the full recipe, you're using up to 4 cups of flour, which is a lot of flour. Okay, I'm going to stop it right now and just put the sides down so you can see how runny. It's almost like cake batter right now. So that is definitely runnier than we want. I'm also going to the bottom because I feel like on these mixers, the bottom just kind of stays very liquidy or dry, depending upon what kind of mix you're mixing. You always just got to check the bottom. There we go. All right, let's bring her down and let's keep adding. Okay. That going. I want to check. So now I'm being careful. So I have probably about a half cup of flour left, but I want to check and see how thick it is. So not too thick and not too runny. So between y'all, I think it's ready. Because I think the last time, first of all, I know it was a little thick, which is why you got the beautiful shape you got, but I don't want to make it any thicker than that, so I'm good with this. I'm stopping. So the rest of this flour can go back into the flour container, and I'm going to, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you all here. I'm going to wipe this up, and I'm going to put this in a gallon-sized bag, so that I can cut a little hole and use that to pipe these little cookies onto silicone mats. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. So let me just take this off. Let me get some of this off here. All right. Take that, put that in the sink. I'm going to get a bag. So a good way to do that, if you're in this similar situation, is get just a wide glass and get your bag. Let me get my gallon-sized bag. Okay. And I'm just going to eventually snip the end off, and you kind of put the bag in like so, lift it up so you can pour the batter in. I'm just going to put this up just so that we don't have any spillage for any reason. Okay, there we go. And so then you just, let me just see if you can see this all well. Yep, okay. And so then you're just going to take your batter, and we're just going to, let me show you. I'm afraid you're not going to see this part just because it's going to be facing me so I don't spill, but you're just going to be putting this batter in there, like so. You can see. And then you're going to have it all together in this baggie that we can use to pipe, which will be great. Will make the job so much easier and quicker, to be honest. Okay, there we go. All right, let me just get a little bit of a spoon and get some of this extra off. You know me, I like every bit. I don't want to waste any of this because that could have been a whole cookie if I hadn't taken that off. There we go. Excellent. I just want to taste it. Delicious. Very anisey. But some of that flavor will disperse once you cook them. So for me, it's perfect flavoring. Whoopsie, sorry. A perfect flavoring right now. So let me just, I got some dough in the sink. Let me just get some of this rinse so it doesn't harden. Make for easier cleanup later. Thank you for your patience. There go. Okay. All right, get this filled up so we can use this if we need to again. All right. Okay. So I'm going to bring y'all back. Let me bring this up. There we go. Bring y'all back here. And I think we're going to actually be moving you because I want you to see me pipe it, so you'll see how that's done. Let me bring this over here. Okay. All right, I'm going to bring this up. Let me just check the chat. So Hubs is wrapping my gifts. I told him this would be a great time for him to do wrapping because I would be busy and he could get his wrapping done. So that's what he's doing. Archie said, I have very little knowledge of cinnamon. It's not a spice I'm hugely fond of. I find it harsh, overwhelming spice, but I'm okay with it in small quantities. So Archie, for the Palmiers, I would leave it out. I would just do a sugar with a little bit of salt. And by the way, I forgot to put my salt in. And friends, I'm going to actually pause on this for a second because I want to get, speaking of my Palmiers, I don't want my puff pastry to get overly done, so to speak. So let me just put a twisty on this so it doesn't dry out. We'll save the Anise cookies for just a minute. Doing a little multitasking right now. Let's see how this is. Whoopsie. Yep, this is done. So we want to make sure and get this going. Okay. So for my Palmiers, I'm going to add a touch of salt because it does help with offsetting the sweetness. So just a little pinch. Ina is never wrong about that stuff. So yes, so traditionally, Arch Palmiers just have the sugar with a little touch of salt. So for me, because it reminds me of the elfin ears that I used to have as a child that my mom found, and I will check and see if she said where that was. Let me see here. At the shore, it was at the shore. So I thought, I have some memories left. I'm impressed. And they do, I agree. Archie was asking if certain varieties are better than others. So I just try to get a good quality cinnamon. I agree with Eugenia, different varieties have different tastes, but I just generally try to get a good quality general cinnamon. I've not delved into the taste, and so to speak, for that. So it sounds like Eugenia, you know more about, so definitely share any of the knowledge. And Archie said, we used to spend time in the Netherlands. And we did miss you, Eugenia, when I was a kid, and they shoveled on apples so much that you can't taste the apple, so that's maybe why. Yes, you might have some cinnamon trauma. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but I think like a year ago, there was this these crazy challenges that the young people are doing on social media. There was a cinnamon challenge one that was terrible. And what I hate about it is it took away from the loveliness of cinnamon, and they tried to fill their fill their mouth with cinnamon, and it was really dangerous for them to do that. So anyways, let me just catch up finishing. Bambi's relatives just got my pot of winter pansies. Oh no. Yes, Mom, I definitely got my love of cinnamon from you for sure. Lots of buffering. Oh, Eugenia, my apologies. By the way, I could tell because, so what happens whenever we live stream, I always have the stream up here so I can see the chat. But it also shows me the video. And the video is usually just a little bit behind, but now it's showing very behind. So I can tell that something was going on. So thanks for the feedback, and I apologize, my friends. It was not a decade ago, Maddie. You're still on, crack me up. It was not a decade ago. It was. I think it was either during the pandemic or after the pandemic. You little stinker. You're funny. And he pops up every now and again, but no, you crack me up, Matt. So let me see here. Yes, excellent. Yes, Archie, I think it's on my end, and I'm not really sure why. There's really, unfortunately, when it buffers like that, there's really nothing I can do on my end. There's nothing coming up that's showing a message or whatnot. And you know how sometimes it's gotten fuzzy on my end? It's not even fuzzy right now. It's just showing very delayed. All right, so let's get to these Palmiers. So again, if you don't care for cinnamon, you could just use sugar with a touch of salt, and you're going to pour half of this in the middle here. And it's actually very similar to what I'm going to be doing with my Rugelach. So this is very familiar to me. And we are going to lay our puff pastry on top of that glorious sugar. Just open it up. There we go. So we're going to lay that on top. Just make sure it gets all the goodness. And then we're going to pour the rest of the sugar on top of that. So there is no sugar to be saved in this recipe. This is the holidays. We are being extravagant and special and all those good things, okay? So you can see how all the flavor can just permeate in here then, all of this goodness. So I'm going to get this bottom half encased as well. Okay, so now I'm going to get my roller, and I'm just going to roll this to help kind of seal it, so to speak. And it is funny because I do something very similar with the Rugelach. So I'm just rolling it both ways just to kind of get it ground in, so to speak. There we go. And you don't have to go too thin. You're really just trying to get that sugar into the dough. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fold it in like a book. Just want to make sure I'm doing it pretty even. There we go. I'm going to fold it in like a book. Once. So you see how I did that? I folded it in like a book once. And then I'm going to, and I'm actually going to try to get some of the sugar in here. Let me get a spatula. So I'm folding it in like a book. And then we're going to fold it in one more time on both sides. So fold it in like a book, and then fold it in like a book. Okay. And then you fold it together. There we go. Book, book, and all together. And I just want to make sure the outside has all this glorious sugar. It's funny, it didn't stick on this one side so much. A little disappointed in that. Let's get that. Maybe we need a little cinnamon there too. Let me see. Don't watch, Arch. This might offend you with your cinnamon. But I definitely want there to be some cinnamon there too. So it's funny how that didn't go on the one side. I'm not really sure why. Look at that. Isn't that funny? See how it's just like dry there? Just try. Probably breaking the rules here, but I'm going to actually moisten that a little bit just so some sugar will adhere. Because I want the sugar there. It's so odd. It's so funny the different things that happen when you're cooking that you're like, well, why is that happening? Just odd. All right, and then we're going to take a knife and we're going to cut these. And after we cut these, we're going to put them on a cookie sheet and we're going to bake them off. So I'm going to get my cookie sheet ready. This is ready for my Rugelach. Let me get my cookie sheet ready. Aha. I'm going to also get my cookie sheet. Move this over here. 1 second. Let's get my sugary stuff all over. I'm also going to put some parchment paper on my cookie sheet because the sugar is going to come out and I want parchment paper for that to catch it. And we're going to bake these for 5 minutes the one way and then flip them for another 2 minutes so they get nice and brown on both sides. Okay, so there we go. Let me get my knife. And I believe she suggests a serrated knife. So I'm going to get a serrated knife. Oh, where'd my one go? Oh, here it is. Actually, I have one that's thinner. Sorry, friends. There we go. So I'm going to get my serrated knife. And then I'm going to put that here on my cookie sheet. And then that's all she wrote. The first one won't be as pretty. And of course, this does happen. It will unroll on you like so. It just is what happens. There we go. And then it makes this lovely shape. Let me show you. And then that is going to make such a pretty cookie. So we're just going to put these out. I don't know, like about a 1/2 inch, I'm guessing. That's my guess. About a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to actually go like this. I think it'll stay together a little bit better this way. Yes. So I flipped it onto where we rolled it. I think that's going to work better. So they're about a 1/2 inch. Now, the thing that's wonderful about these is, you know, we did not spend a lot of time on these. So if you are making these, just these, it literally, you take out your pastry dough, you let it, you know, 1/2 hour defrost, you mix up whatever you're going to put in it, whether it's cinnamon sugar or just sugar and a little bit of salt, and you are good to go. This takes minutes. This is a great and easy dessert for company. It's so classy. It's great with lunch. It's great just as a snack if you're having friends over for coffee. And it's great for dinner. If you want to make it more festive, you could always use colored sugar. So like for Valentine's Day, you could use red sugar. For Christmas, you could use any of the, you know, red and green sugar, right? You could definitely, you know, party it up if you wanted to. So lots of options, but very quick and easy with puff pastry. Again, I'm doing a riff on elephant ears, so that's why I would like to have the cinnamon in there. But that's only for those that would enjoy it, and I'm running a little bit out of room, and I don't want to use another pan, so I'm just going to, and these are going to puff up. So let me just do a few little adjustments here. I do want to give them enough space, but I do need to just make a little bit more room. So 1 second, I'm going to stagger them a little bit because I just have 3 more. Okay. All right. Hopefully we can fit these. One's going to be a little tight. I'm going to let that one be here because it's smaller anyway. All right. So hopefully these won't touch each other. If they do, oh well. Excellent. All right, and there we go. So there is our pan of cookies. You can see we are going to bring them into the oven and let them bake at 450 or 425 convection for, if it's convection, for just 5 minutes, and then we're going to flip them for another 2. So they get lovely brown on each side. So let's get those in the oven and we'll continue our work today. There we go. One thing I will tell you that happens with my palmiers every time is as they cook, they kind of spread out more than I want them to. Like they open up, and I've learned I've just got to let that go. Because part of me can get into my head of, well, yeah, I want them to look a certain way. You just got to let that go. Just, you know, cookies are going to be what they're going to be. They don't have to be just one certain way. So now it's time to get this piped out. So let's see how much I can pipe out before the buzzer goes off. So what I'm going to do first is, let me just think myself through this a second, because I am going to, I can't use one of my, I'm just thinking out what I'm thinking right now, because I can't use one of my cookie sheets right now because I'm using them today. So I'm going to get out 2 of my plastic cutting boards that I have, that honestly I got for free from something or other. And I'm going to put my silicone on top of there, because that way I can literally take this and then put this onto a cookie sheet later tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put this over here, and then I'm going to bring you over to see how this is all going to work out. Let me put this down here. 1 second, friends, and then you can kind of see how I do this for my grandma's Anise cookies. Okay, so I'm going to bring you over here. I'm going to come over to this side. You're going to get to see all parts of Philly's place. All right, so I'm going to bring you here. I'm going to turn this down like so. Let me see here. That goes pretty well. Wonderful. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Let me just check on the chat real quick. Matt, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Oh, wait, no. Maddie, oh, that little stinker. I see that he just said the challenge has been described online since 2001 and has increased in popularity in 2007, peaking. Oh, you are hysterical, Matt. I will say you are thorough, my friend. And Eugenia says, I can't even eat the cinnamon candy or gum. Oh, I love hot cinnamon. So Eugenia, I am fairly certain that you would not enjoy Red Hots, which are those hot cinnamon candies. I'm fairly certain that that would not be for you. So here's our dough. Here's my scissors to snip off the end. Just catching up a little bit more in the chat. And Archie says, when the coffee house reheats a cinnamon pastry, the whole place smells of cinnamon. It even bears the smell of fresh coffee. Now that, to me, sounds fabulous. And Eugenia says, I use cinnamon sticks in the pot on the stove. Yes, I love that smell. Wonderful, wonderful. As long as they taste good, that's all that matters. That's exactly. Mom, I'm not sure if I've made you palmiers. I've done it some years when I've just wanted to have it, you know, kind of be in for a cookie. I've not done them the cinnamon way, though, I don't think. I think I just did them with salt. I'm sorry, with sugar and a little touch of salt. All right, so then what we're going to do here is we see we got this going on, and I'm just bringing this little corner up to help, is I'm going to be piping these out. These will not grow, you know, they will not broaden out. So I can pipe these how they're going to be because they are not going to change much once we bake them. They're just going to fully cook. They cure, which is just so unique, and it's one of the things I think makes this cookie really cool. And if you think about it, besides it having to mix in the mixer for a period of time, it's really not complicated. Quite simple with eggs, sugar, the confectioner sugar, and flour. I know it's really off, sweetie. It's okay. He's just noticing how off my laptop is showing what's going on right now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring it up like this because I don't want it to all of a sudden pour out. And I can't remember how wide I got it, so I'm just going to do a little guess here. Okay, hopefully this is good. We shall see. I could always put this into another pipe. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to, now I haven't done one of these since last year, so just be graceful for me. I'm just going to pipe it out to make the size I'm looking for. And I think this is a little thick because I think these are going to be like they were last year, which tasted delicious, but I think they're just going to be a little thick. And that's okay, right? Because the thought is there, but these are not going to go smooth. And I don't know why that is doing that. One second, friends. I have like a string that is not, I don't know if there was, I don't know, Andy, it's okay. He's late to the game of what the stream's doing. We're good. Okay, sorry about that, friends. I don't know what that was, but we're going to go right back. Okay. So I made my hole definitely bigger this year. I would make a smaller hole if I was you. I'm just putting that tip out there. And I'm just making my cookies. So again, these will not spread out, so you don't have to worry about that. We're just making a roundish shape. My grandma's were always flat on top. These, again, will not be flat, because even though I didn't add a half cup of flour, it's just definitely thicker than hers. So I'm just trying to make a roundish shape. And these are a little trickier for me because I'm trying to do this from the other side of the table so you all can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to try to round that out with my finger. Obviously, I won't do that again because I already did my finger once. Yeah, this is... The last ones were even easier because I think my dough was actually even more liquid. But it will be fine. So I'm making these a little bigger because the last ones were quite small. Now my palmier thing just went off, so I'm going to put that down a second. I'm going to lay it aside so it doesn't all pour out. And I'm going to go check on my palmiers. Actually, let me bring you all over. Bring you in on the fun. Come check out what we're doing here in the kitchen, friends. Sorry if you get seasick. All look away from the screen for a sec. There we go. Let's check these. Let's check how these are doing. Oh, they smell so good. Oh, lovely. Okay. So you can see how they look right now. See what I mean? How they kind of break open a bit. And now we're going to flip them. I've got my little spatula here. Now we're going to flip these over so that the other side can brown. And you can see all the sugar is crinkling. Be careful because that sugar is hot. Now I have asbestos hands. Oh, we'll turn you off. have asbestos hands, so it doesn't bother me, but just be careful if you don't have highly seasoned hands like mine that don't have as much feeling in them anymore. But one of the things I like about doing with the cinnamon is you can see how like the cinnamon shows up. Like I think that's really pretty too. Now you'll get some idea of the shape, you know, even with the sugar and with the browning that the dough does, but I do like that. I think that looks really pretty. This one kind of came off a bit. Let's get it over. So again, we're just flipping these and we're gonna put them in for another, I actually think I'm gonna put them in for 3 minutes, definitely, because I would like them more brown than this. And they will, but I think 2 minutes is gonna be less time than I'm gonna want. So we're gonna pop these back in for 3 minutes this time. And again, I have a convection oven, so it's a little shorter time than it would be in a regular oven. I think she said, let me see, timer, put 3 minutes. I think she said that typically it's like 6 minutes, and then for the next ones, maybe 4 to 5 minutes. So let me get this here so you can see. Let's get back to our, there we go. 1 second. There we go. Okay, back to our cookie making. Now, you can see, while they don't spread cooking, they are spreading here. So I did these too close, so I'm going to make sure I don't make that mistake again. That is what I don't remember from last year. So I'm going to make them a little farther so they have room to spread. But that actually, I might have made it thin enough because do you see how they've become quite flat? Which is awesome. So then maybe they're going to work out. All right. The dough, so I just wish I wouldn't have made the hole in this so big because I feel like it has made it a little bit unwieldy for me here. There we go. And this one is definitely not the shape I want it. They smell so good. That anise scent is really lovely, I have to say. And it's funny because I'm a person that doesn't like licorice. Like I don't like black licorice. My mom loves black licorice. And I don't like ouzo or anisette or any of those things. But I loved these cookies. I've always loved these cookies. And as you can tell, because I used to add it to my biscotti. All right, let's get this going. So you can see this makes quite a few, and we halved the recipe. Like, it's just amazing to me, in fact. And in fact, I remember I am going to need to get something else out to put these on, because when I made them the last time, half of this recipe, I needed another mat. So Matt, you probably have popped off again, but if you're still on, how did the cookie exchange go? And were your cookies a hit? And what were the cookies that you enjoyed that someone else brought? Okay, I'm just going to work those a little bit. And this is all something you can do later as far as fixing them if you want to. I'm talking about these anise cookies. You can pop down that tip with a spoon for sure. Oh, and it sounds like I'm just going to let this rest here because I don't think it's going anywhere. And let me check the palmiers. I'm going to leave you here not to make you seasick again. Just going to check them. I feel like they should be in 1 minute. I would like them a little more brown. I'm not going to lie. Okay, 1 more minute. And then we'll be done. Whoop. 1 second, friends. Okay, lots of beeping. Okay, these are working well. Okay. So the ones I made last year were quite small, so I am trying to make these a little bit bigger. I was just so unsure making these the first time. You know, I felt literally, I felt blind because I had so many questions and there were so many things oh, we might be good, actually. So many questions about what I was doing and consistency and just so much. You know, it's really hard when you make a recipe the first time, and especially if it's, I think, a family recipe, and if you haven't had a chance to ask the person that made it all the time, because they would have worked all these things out. And the lesson learned there is don't wait till your loved one has passed to make the recipes, right? You know, like with my grandma, I waited too long. Now, granted, she's been gone for a long time, but I wished I would have, you know, not been, because I think some of her recipes just intimidated me. I wish I would have just done it. And actually, even better yet, it would have been fun to have done it with her, right? All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to take these out. I will show them to you once we come back. Yes, they just gave enough brown. So for me, what I would recommend to y'all, and I need to just change my temperature. So let me just look at my Rugelach temperature real quick and see what I'm going to change it to before I come back over and finish those. My Rugelach temperature is supposed to be at, because we'll do that next, 350. So I'm going to reduce my temperature to 350. I'm going to do it as 325 because I'm going to do convection. I do like how convection bakes things, so we are going to definitely do that. Okay. Now, I'm laughing because looking at my cookies here, my grandma's cookies, you would have thought like a machine made them. They were so quality control, like the same size, shape. Like I remember just being, it just was in awe that they were homemade, especially this one, because they just looked all very uniform. Mine are definitely not looking uniform. Here we go. And of course, if you all have a pastry bag, use it. I just don't. I've always just used, because I don't do fancy decorating, you know what I mean, like with frosting and things like that. So I've just never, actually, you know, I take that back. I think I've one, but I think I've used it once. I just find the plastic bag, I don't know, it's more approachable for me. Whoopsie. All right, we're almost done here. Okay. The one thing I will say that's funny, though, is trying to get it over to the one corner just at the very end gets a little problematic. Okay, let's see. Okay, and I'll check on the chat once I'm done with this. Just do one more here. I think that will do it. That'll do it. All right. So I'm taking back what I said about the consistency. I actually think I got the consistency pretty on par, because if you notice, and let me bring you closer. Let me just throw this away and bring you closer. Let me just rinse my hands too, because I'm a little sticky. But if you notice, as they're spreading, they are glossy. And there is no tip. The last time I made them, there was a little tip because it was a little thick. So let me just, let me bring this over here just a second to show you. So, I mean, there is not very much texture. Let me kind of bring you over here. See how shiny they are? But look, they are pretty flat. See those two in the middle? Those have a little texture. But many of them have gotten pretty shiny and flat. So I think I kind of hit the thickness, the appropriate thickness, or the one my grandma used. Now what'll happen, again, these need to sit for at least 10 hours, and mine will sit longer because I won't cook them till I get up in the morning tomorrow. And let's see what time it is. I don't have a clock with me. But, you know, you have to let them sit for at least 10 hours. And what's gonna happen is, let me show you here, down below right here, they're going to develop these little feet, like this part's gonna lift and it's gonna look like there's frosting on top. And that's what you wanna see that happens when they cure. And then you'll bake them in a low oven. In fact, let me share with you what that is. Let me bring you over here. Bring my camera back over here. Get you back in. 1 second, friends. You just adjust this without you on it so it doesn't make you seasick. Okay, let me get you in. Okay, there we go. So let me show you back here. There we go. Whoops, sorry friends. Just bring it up a little higher. Okay, so let me look at her recipe. When I bake them tomorrow, it's going to be, well, not super low. I thought it was lower than it was. You're going to bake them at 325 to light brown. That was the other thing that cracked me up, is there wasn't a time. So I will look back at my video that I made to see about how much time they ended up cooking, because, like, isn't that funny? Bake at 325 to light brown. So vague. So yeah, that's really interesting. But these have a definite different shape on them, so I'm really happy about that. I think that that is very much more like my grandma's, and they will be delicious. Okay, so I reduced the heat on my oven to 350, but since I'm doing convection, it's 325, and now we're gonna get our rugelach ready. So before I get my rugelach out, we have everything set to go for just our nuts. We have everything set to go for figs, and I think what I'm gonna need more nuts, so I will get some nuts going, but let's get that chocolate filling together, because that was one of the things we were talking about. So for my chocolate filling, I am going, oops, wrong one, the one from Bakes by Brown Sugar. Oh, let me catch up on the chat. Let's see here. Oh, and Mom asked, do we have a pastry bag? And yes, I do, but I just don't use it because then it has to be washed out. And you know me, the less things we have to wash, the better. And I don't use that kind of thing very often. So for me to, I know, using disposable plastic is definitely a hot issue, but I don't do, this is like once a year when I do it. So, but yes, I do have a pastry bag actually. And Maddie said, cookies were a hit, only have 3 left out of 18. Wonderful. So Maddie, what was your favorite cookie that you tried from there? Because I know you do the exchange. And Eugenia, yes, you definitely could add ground nuts to the filling. And I've never tried a savory palmier. That sounds delightful. Tell me if there's one you've had. I'd love to know what was in it, but I think a savory palmier would be delicious. And Archie says, everything looks stunning, marvelous. And he says, sorry I couldn't join tonight. I have lots of revisions for exams, but those cookies look wicked. No. Oh, Amy. Oh, gosh, Amy, don't worry. You've got so much on your plate, but thank you very much, Amy. And you get studying because you know that's what's important. And I wish you all the luck when you take your exams. So my advice to you is take a deep breath and just stay relaxed, because the relaxed brain works best. All right, so back to the filling. So for our filling, oh, the chocolate. That's what I was wanting to get when we were last here. So I need to get my little stool here and go up into my cupboard because it's a bit high for me. And let's see how we're doing on time. It's 2:29. Okay, so we're 2.5 hours in. Oh, actually, just 2 hours in because I started late. Well, considering I'm doing a lot of chatting, it's not too bad. Okay, so this is what I was telling you about. You could absolutely chop finely your own chocolate, but I'm always of the opinion that if you have something already ready for you, why not use it? And again, this is sweet, so I'm going to add a little bit less sugar because I don't want it to be too sweet, or the end product too sweet. But this is what we're going to do. So this is something that Williams-Sonoma has. It's called Hot Chocolate Classic. And what it is inside is just this delightful, let me show you. I probably shouldn't do this because I'll never get back in. This delightful, finely chopped chocolate that you melt into milk. And I think you can melt it into water. Let me just check. But we always put it into milk. I might need to get my glasses. I am going to get my glasses so that I'm not straining. And I'm going to use this because it just makes sense. So Yes, so in this, and I'll even go to the ingredients. Where are the ingredients? Of course, they don't have the ingredients here, which is actually shocking. But anyways, this is semi-sweet chocolate that liquefies quickly in hot milk. So, so that's why they use it. So it is definitely a semi-sweet, and to me that would be perfect for this. I do like, and if I was chopping my own chocolate, I would do bittersweet, like a 60%. So I'm going to use a little less sugar. And then here you just whisk this into milk until it's completely dissolved. This makes the best hot cocoa. Absolutely outstanding. So I'm going to use this to make my chocolate filling. So for my chocolate filling, we're going to need 6 ounces or 170 grams. So I'm actually going to measure this on there. We'll start off with this. Let me cut that open. I feel like I keep looking for scissors all day. I have another pair of scissors that, oh, he has them. That's where the other pair, that's why Hubs is wrapping. I was trying to figure out where another pair of my scissors went, and I'm like, he has them. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to cut this open. Just the best hot chocolate. Highly recommend it if you're in the States and can get this. Now, that being said, it is pricey, so that is why it's a lovely gift, because my sister gives this to me because I wouldn't buy it for myself. So it makes a lovely gift. All right, so I want to have 85 grams of this, so I'm going to actually measure. So I want grams, actually. Okay. I'm just going to measure this. Oh, wait, did I take? I don't think I took that off. 1 second, I'm going to put that. I don't want to put that back in the rest of them. Oh, I did take it off. Okay. All right, so we're good. I can't remember if I measured it. Wait, we didn't. Ah, there we go. Now it's good. There we go. So I didn't. I'm glad I took it off. That was a smart decision. You just tap that out. Now let's go back to 85 grams. It's amazing I function as I do. What's the best is sometimes you'll see this big chunk come out. I gotta have that. It's kind of like if it was Parmesan cheese, I would do the same thing. You kind of just got to. It's a necessary step. And you can see I definitely picked the wrong size. Oh, but I did bring my bigger one. No, we're gonna be fine. So 85 grams. Oh, that's a nice amount of chocolate. This is more chocolate than we're gonna need. I'll just have to figure out another filling for it. I'll figure out a way to use it. Just saw another one of those big chunks. Oh, there we are. We're almost there. Okay, excellent. So we have 85 grams. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to put this in a bigger bowl. In fact, I was going to use this one. I'm going to use a bigger bowl than this, actually. Actually, you know what? I think it's going to be fine because we're not adding that much more stuff to it. No, I probably should have. Oh, well, it is what it is. So, and to that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar. Get my tablespoon measure. And by the way, if you're just joining us, I'm just in the kitchen today making Christmas cookies, as I'm sure many people are that celebrate Christmas. And it's a perfect time because Christmas Eve is next weekend on Sunday. So this gives me the opportunity to get them made, but keeps them fresh. So and we're making a filling for Rugelach, the chocolate filling for Rugelach. So I have here 85 grams of finely chopped chocolate. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar. I'm not gonna add the extra half tablespoon of sugar. I think it's gonna be sweet enough. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of cocoa powder though. So let me get that. Where's my cocoa powder? Right here. It's almost out, but I did get a new one, so I do have another one. This is Ghirardelli, one of my favorites. You all know I love their chocolate. Get that out. So a tablespoon. There we go. And then, and again, Arch, this is your nemesis, but a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So I'm going to get my half teaspoon. I don't think I have one of those. Oh, I do. Yay, that works. Half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. There we go. I love that idea of cinnamon in there. And I think that's it. chocolate, sugar, cocoa powder, and cinnamon. So now I'm going to, this is going to be a little interesting because this isn't quite, whoopsie. Yeah, this is going to make a bit of a mess. That's okay. Messes are good on baking days, right? If you can't make a mess on a baking day, when can you make it? I actually want to just get that chocolate off. Now I'm going to use this last because this filling is going to be the most troublesome in a way. And I'm going to use this to help kind of, this actually works well. The end of a spoon, if it all else fails, use the end of a spoon to mix things up. So we're just wanting this incorporated. This isn't obviously making a mix, well, it's making a mixture, but every ingredient kind of is staying into itself. You can see the cocoa powder, you can see the finely chopped chocolate, you can smell the cinnamon. Oh, this actually smells glorious. And then there's little crystals of light brown sugar that are there. Okay, so and I just found a chunk. So this is the chocolate tax, a chunk of that. I need to have that. Plus, it might not melt. So that was, I did a very good thing, my arugula. All right, so there we go. So now our arugula. Our dough has been chilling. We're going to be rolling it out. How I usually attack it, since I make 3 different kinds, is I'm attacking it from the least messy to the most messy. That way, because we're using the same board, right? So our least messy are just our walnuts. So I'm going to do that one first. And I want to make sure that, I need to get these off. Let me get these off real quick and put them on our, as you saw when I went over to that table, I have racks that are great for cookies cooling. So let me just get these on the racks real quick and I can get this ready to go for the arugula. Oh, these look great. And I'm going to take an ugly one and taste one just to assure you that these are absolutely delicious. Because you know, I would go to all ends to make sure that everyone knew how things tasted that watched my live streams, right? The depths that we foodies go for each other. Okay. Let's see here. They are beautiful. Excellent. All right. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, this made 19. And so now I've made the number even, which is also another good deed I did for the day. So I picked this one because it was fairly light. Doesn't have a lot of cinnamon. So Archie might like this one better. Let me taste it. I don't know if you heard that crunch. So delicious. My first cookie of the day. Absolutely delicious. Very good. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. Now, I want to reuse my parchment one more time. So I'm just flicking off some of the caramelized sugar. I mean, this works with the arugula I'm making, so I don't have to worry about it being totally free of everything. But that's where we'll put our, I'm going to wash my hands, that's where we'll put our walnut arugula. Okay. So now, for my walnut arugula, I'm actually going to be making a sugar topping, kind of like we did for the last one. We're going to be laying some more cinnamon sugar down here and putting some up top. That way you're not using flour that can make the dough tougher. So it's kind of a nice trick because the flour will be sticky, but the sugar helps kind of provide that barrier and make it easier to work with. So let me just check real quick because I won't need as much as I usually would since I'm making these other kinds. So usually it would be a cup of sugar with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I need my water now. We won't need that. So I'm just going to do, since I'm really just needing it for 1, I'm just going to do a 1/2 cup sugar. Wow, that palmier made me thirsty. Okay, so a 1/2 cup of sugar, and we can use this again. A 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then let me check out what the chat's doing. Let me get this. So Maddie said there was a ginger cookie that was pretty good. Ooh, I'm impressed. And then I'm kind of giggling that you said pretty good. That's cute. But I'm glad you tried something. That's really good. It's always good to be a trier. Matt could attest to, in our family, we're firm believers that you need to constantly try things, which is really why, wait, that's a tablespoon. I don't need a tablespoon. I like cinnamon, but I don't need a tablespoon of it. And this was only half. So I'll do 2 of these to make it a full teaspoon. There we go. But anyways, Matt can attest to the fact that we definitely prize trying in our family. I don't know what I did with my little whisk. So it's important because your tastes change. I think I put it there. Let me get another one. Luckily, I have this one. Your tastes change, so it's always good to try things and never stop being a trier. Of the 2 boys, Matt is the one that is the fussiest, but he has definitely broadened his palate by trying more things, and I think Matt would agree. So I always feel like, and I tell my kids, the students I teach also, I'm like, keep trying things. It's always good. We wouldn't want to stay how we were as like a 3-year-old. I mean, part of us would like to, just have to have naps every day and all that, but we were very limited in our tastes and in what we could do and enjoy. All right, so I've got that mixed up, and now I'm going to put some of it down here. I'm going to go get my dough. So I'm going to grab one of my medallions here. Let me see. I'm going to do that one. And we're just going to open it up. Take it out of its plastic wrap and put it right onto that big hunk of cinnamon sugar. And this is the part that really makes these so good, if I'm being honest. Like the blending of the sugar into the dough is just, it just makes everything taste absolutely phenomenal. And it's great because it's literally what helps the dough, be able to not stick and to be able to be worked. Now, do not worry. You'll notice with this dough that on edges, it'll start splitting. At the end of the day, it's not going to matter because you're going to be cutting these into pie slices. And the pie slices it's all going to become, like you're not going to notice it. So don't worry about it. Just get this rolled out. Fairly big. I'll give you an estimate of how big it is once I get there. Because since I make them once a year, I'm always like, how big do I make these? I think it says on the recipe, so I will check it out. And this is a time to be generous. Again, you are trying to make absolutely delicious confections for different people to enjoy. You don't want to skimp. You want to make everything absolutely delicious. And let me see what she says. 9-inch circle. Well, my circle is not going well. And this is just to show you that your circle does not have to go well for these to be absolutely delicious. And I'm more than 9 inches right now. So what I'm looking for, since I've made these a long time, is I'm looking for a certain thickness. So I'm almost there. Okay, I'm about there. And you can see this is quite misshapen, friends. This is not perfect by any stretch. You can see that right there. So don't worry about yours being perfect. I promise you it's going to all turn out. I just, again, want it to be fairly even in thickness. To me, that's more important than the shape. Then we're going to get a pizza cutter. So we have that. But before we do any cutting, move this so you can see. Yeah, you can all see. Before we do any cutting, we're going to put the nuts on there. And just like we did before, I don't know if we'll need all of these. Just like we did before, we are going to, I'm just going to put them all in. Because some will fall off and those will be fine for the fig version. And we're just going to spread these out. Okay? I just think with, when you're making cookies for Christmas time or for anything special, I just think just be generous, right? I'm going to kind of press them in to help them stay a little bit, but that might not even work, and that's okay. And I'm also going to move this so I can put my cookie sheet over here. I'm going to move my rolling pin, move my cookie sheet over. Okay, all right. So now we're going to just cut it like a pie. So we're going to be splitting these into 16 wedges. So you're going to go in half first, and then you're going to go another half. So I have 4, and then we're going to go to 8, and then we're going to go to 16. And that's the magic number, 16. And our oven's ready to go, so once I'm done, they're going to go in and bake off, and we'll get our other ones ready. Okay, so once you put them into 16, you start with 1, and you start with the wide end, and you just roll, 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 roll. And what I do is I like just to mark what kind they are. I make sure there's at least one walnut on top to show this is a walnut one, because you know what, not everyone likes walnuts, right? So I want to make sure people know what they're getting so they can choose the rugelach that suits them. I forget, I don't know if it was Ina or another cook that talked about, you know, kind of always showing what something's made of. Like that's a good tip. That's a good practice. And I agree. I think it's a great practice because, you know, especially if people are at a party and they're going down a buffet and they don't really know what's in it, it just, once they see that walnut there, they see, number 1, it has nuts, and number 2, it's a walnut. That's a little piece of dough. So, and I'm just putting these here, these little crescent rolls. But they're the best crescent rolls you've ever had, the rugelach. There we go. Well, I'm glad you tried the cookies, Matt. I think that's wonderful. Let's see what everyone else is saying. So, let me see here. She stopped giving it to me when I told her I just ate out of the can as a treat. Wait, Mom, I think I missed that. What did you stop? Oh, she stopped giving you the chocolate. So can I tell you a true story? One of the things I like to do, Mom, is when I was craving a sweet and didn't have because I do keep chocolate. I keep dark chocolate in the house a lot because that really suits me, and it satisfies a sweet craving for me in a quick way, and I don't tend to overdo it. I could just have 1 or 2 pieces, small pieces of this dark chocolate, and then I'm good. I'm good to go. But when we wouldn't have it, I've absolutely done that. And to boot, Mom, what I would do is if we had whipped cream, which being a house of boys, we often had, a can of that whipped cream in the fridge. In fact, I just got one now since it's the holidays, just to make sure we had some. I would put a spoonful of that chocolate in a small bowl, like probably one of these. I would squirt some of the whipped cream on top, and then I would top it with some of the chocolate. And then I would eat that. I was happy as a clam. It just pleased me to no end to have that. That was such a delightful little treat. So I totally understand that, and I'm with you. I would have done that same thing. I think what's good of where I store this in our place here in the city is I honestly forget about it because I don't, if it was in my cupboard over there where I go in all the time and I'd see it, I would be reminded more, and I would probably get some of those spoonfuls more often. But because it's where it is, I just kind of forget about it. However, when I was making these and wanting to do a different chocolate filling, I thought, oh, that'll be perfect to use. And it was funny, when I was researching chocolate filling for rugelach, I found so many different types, which again, I just think is phenomenal. I think it's great. People, have learned so much of what they do from their families, and every family's done it a little different, and I just think that's very, very cool. But this one caught my eye because it kind of, I don't know, I just liked the idea that it had real chocolate, because I think some people use just the cocoa powder, which is totally fine, and they might have even wet it more to make it a little bit more like a paste, so to speak. And by the way, I'm going to change my mind. I was going to do the fig ones last. I'm going to do actually the chocolate ones last, mainly because we are going to be putting melted butter on first to help the filling that we made adhere. And plus, what's not good with a little more butter. But I think that could get messy, so I'm going to do the figs one. And if there's any jam that squeezes out, I'll just wipe that up before I do the chocolate. All right, so we are good. And actually, this was a step that my kids helped with. It's easy for your kids to help here. They love rolling them up into these cute little crescents. And then these are going to bake at 325 convection or 350 regular for 20 minutes. Since it's convection, I'm going to set my timer for 15 because they do tend to get done sooner. However, everyone likes their Rugelach cooked differently. I like mine to be fairly brown. I just feel like it caramelizes everything and makes them super tasty. So here are the walnut Rugelach. So walnut, cinnamon, sugar, and they are going in for 15 minutes to start, and then we'll take them out when they're ready. I just don't want to forget about them. These, and I'll also say these are my favorite thing to have fresh. Not totally out of the oven because they would burn my mouth, but these are phenomenal when you have them fresh. They are absolutely outstanding. And I want my bench scraper because that's going to help with some of this stuff, tightening this. So now we're going to make the fig ones. The fig ones are quite easy. I'm actually going to move this out because this I'm going to put on top at the end because that'll help. Let's get this. And I'm going to put just some plain sugar down here. We might need to get some more. But it's okay. We can always just whip together some more sugar and cinnamon. Okay. There we go. Since these are fig walnut, I definitely want the nuts here. My chocolate ones, I'm going to keep nut-free. Now, this is not peanut allergy-free or nut allergy-free because there were nuts on this board, but my boys prefer not to have the nuts. So I'm going to make sure if I have any nuts on the board, I'm going to use my bench scraper and get those off because they will enjoy them more for sure. Okay. And again, there's a lot of sugar on this already, so I'm just turning, just making sure it doesn't stick. If it gets to where it sticks, I'll add some more sugar there. And there is some sugar right here, so let me just get that back. There we go. That's what makes the bench scraper so nice. Let me see. Yes, I'm purely adding the cinnamon here, Archie, so you won't eat my cookies. That's exactly. You got me. You figured me out, my friend. No, I'm just adding the sugar, the cinnamon, just because we love it here in our household for sure. And I think I'm so glad you brought it up because I actually, of course there's people that don't care for cinnamon, and it could be, like you said, from trauma. Of something of an experience that you had that wasn't a good one. But, even as someone who loves chocolate, I know there's people that don't love chocolate or even dislike chocolate. And so, the world goes around with lots of different tastes and things people like and things people don't like. And that's totally fine. But it was a good reminder, actually, Arch, of the fact that some people don't find that tasty. All right. So this is almost ready. And I don't need to add any more sugar because it is doing just fine, moving around easily on the board, which is perfect because then I can just add regular sugar and cinnamon. All right, so we are good to go here. You can see, again, it's a very weird shape, but is it going to work out? It absolutely will. So for this one, the only thing I am going to add a few more of is I want a few more walnuts. So let me go grab some because in this recipe, one of the ones I saw that filled with fig, they did add walnuts, which I thought would add a nice crunch. So let me find my walnuts. 1 second, friends. Must be another drawer. We got pecans. Oh, gosh. Oops. I'm okay. No one has to worry, but my drawer fell. Luckily, I caught it on my knee. After going to the store, oh, here they are. I have so much stuff that I was having trouble finding my walnuts. So y'all got some good sounds and woke you up in case anyone was sleeping over there. Okay, so I keep my walnuts, or actually I keep my pecans. I have macadamia nuts in there. I always keep them in the freezer because that way they won't go rancid on you. So that's a great tip. So I'm going to add a few more of these to here. And I'm going to give them a smash. And I'm going to sprinkle those on top of the fig jam. So these are going to go back in my freezer without all the noise and hullabaloo. All right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to get oh, here it is, right here. Give them a little pound to break these up. It's funny, you know, this can use it can get rid of a lot of aggression, right? It can wake up my neighbors if they were taking an afternoon nap, and it works quite well. So then we're going to take and this is just the fig jam that I have, and I showed it this week when we did our cocktail stream. It doesn't matter which fig jam you have, and frankly, you could use another jam. I was thinking about doing raspberry, but I don't have raspberry jam currently, so I thought, so here, I don't know if y'all think this way, but I thought I could go buy some raspberry jam. But then I would have raspberry jam sitting in my refrigerator, and then it wouldn't get used necessarily but a few times. So I thought, well, what could I use that I already have? And I know I have this big thing of fig jam that I think is great for winter time. And so I thought, I'm going to use that. So this will be a great use. So I'm just going to take some of the jam, and I'm going to spread it. And you want to do all this. By the way, whenever you are filling your rugelach, you want to do all the fillings before you cut them. Okay, that is my biggest tip. So I'm going to use something else to spread it with, because if I need more, that way I've got my spoon. So I'm not sure quite how much to put in. I put 2 little spoonfuls in there. You want to leave the edge out. I just need a little bit more. I don't think you want to have too much jam, but you want to just have enough. I think that should be good. You put that back in the fridge. Fig is such a great fall, winter time, fruit. It's rich, it's dark. Now, that being said, people might think it is chocolate, so we will have to make sure people know which one is chocolate and which one is fig. There we go. And we just spread it. And then what I'm going to do, since I'm making these fig and walnut, is I'm going to sprinkle the walnuts that I just crushed. I want to get this one side out. That I just crushed on top. There we go. Now this is going to be harder to spread out, so I'm going to sprinkle. I'm going to take a little more care because I don't want to get all sticky with the figgy jam. This makes me think of the figgy pudding that's in one of the Christmas carols. So bring me some figgy pudding. I've never had figgy pudding. I bet you it would be delicious. All right, so then I am going to how am I going to do that? I do want to, okay, I'm just going to have to wash them after. I'm just going to press them down a little bit because it will help them adhere once I roll, and I'm going to wash my hands because they got a little bit jammy. Oh, these smell so good. The ones that are in the oven, the rugelach, so fabulous. I'm surprised Hubs hasn't he's poked his head out a couple times, so I'm surprised he hasn't poked his head out recently with the smell. Although I do think when our door is closed, it's hard. I don't think you quite smell everything. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in half. We're going to go again. And we're going to go one more time to make those 16ths. Now this time I will need to wash my pizza cutter because it is going to be a little bit jammy. You can see if it does that, just let it fall back. And then we have one more here. There we go. All right. Okay, so we'll get this one washed. I'm going to rinse it actually right now. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to wash it right now before I forget because it'll also be harder to get off. It'll stick more, and then it'll be all ready for our chocolate filling. Okay. And I just want to thank everyone. I know this is a long stream, so some people have popped on and popped off, but for any of those that enjoy watching my streams, either live or later, I just appreciate you. So thank you so much for your support. And I'm going to roll these up. Oh, and I don't want to forget, I want to make sure I get my pan next to me. So I've got another pan. And I'm going to get some parchment on that. Oftentimes I use my silicone, but since we are doing the Anise cookies, we are going to need to use parchment. Here we go. I'm going to flip it so that it'll stay down. There we go. Excellent. And we're going to roll and place. There we go. So just roll, roll, roll. So what I'm going to do, if I can, I don't have a ton of walnuts left, but I'm going to put a little piece of walnut on top because this one you can tell is figgy because you can see the jam there, but the little walnut will show that it is not chocolate. So the chocolate ones will be darker and they will not have a nut on top. So again, that just helps people that are eating these know what they're going to get. And I think that's a kind thing to do. I mean, it's fun to have surprises, but not always, right? So Mom, if you're still watching, which one are you looking forward to? The traditional walnut or the figgy jam with walnut or the chocolate, but the new chocolate ones, not just the chocolate chips? I'm just curious. Hey Matthew, welcome to the stream. Yes, we've got lots of cookies to try. We are making Rugelach right now, and the Rugelach version I'm making currently are spread with fig jam, and they have cinnamon and sugar and walnuts. So what's your favorite Christmas cookie, Matthew? I would love to know. Now this one's the most misshapen one I had, and even this one's going to be fine. And this will probably be one I will use as a taste because it's going to be a little smaller than the rest. In fact, I'm going to put it here so I don't forget. That's that one. But thank you for joining the stream, Matthew. The figgy one. Oh, I'm excited. You want to try one of the new ones? That's awesome, Mom. I'm excited to try the figgy one. Now, you know, I will have to have the walnut one fresh because that's my favorite fresh one traditionally because I've only, you know, made the walnut with chocolate chips and then just chocolate chips. But I will have to try all these now fresh, like the figgy and the new chocolate ones, just to see what they taste like. But I'm excited. It's funny, I had a pretty simple lunch today because I knew I was going to be baking. And we'll see how hungry we are for dinner because there's going to be lots of cooking tasting and it's 3 o'clock. So, but I guess it's a good time for a snack, right? Which one do you think Dad will enjoy the most, Mom, of the Rugelach that I'm making? Which flavor do you think will be his go-to? And Archie said, just in case, it's Archie Pie, Archie Towers, Archie County, Worcestershire, UK. When will we buy before Christmas? Exactly, right? Sending them right your way. Actually, you know, I do drone postage, Arch. That's how I'm going to get them to you. Oh, my goodness. All right. Excellent. There we go. Okay. Almost done. We just have one. Oopsie. Let's get that nut on there. One more. Oh, these look good. These look good. Now I'm going to have to wipe up my board because it's a little sticky from, you know, the figgy jam, and that's okay. I'm just going to wipe it up a little bit, and then it'll be fine for the chocolate one. Again, we're not talking about allergies here. We're just talking about with nuts, people that might have other preferences. Okay, so I'm going to put these in. These are all made. These are the fig walnut. Oopsie, the fig walnut Rugelach. You can see. And they are going to go in, and I'm going to set my second timer to keep track of these and see how the other ones are doing. me just show you where they are. And I'll get my timer set so you can see how the other ones are doing. So the other ones, you can see how they have puffed. See how they've puffed up? These are the ones that haven't baked yet. So they're puffed, but they're definitely not ready yet. So it says they're almost done. You can see, but I'm going to set another timer for 15 minutes. So that I have 2 timers going then. And of course, this timer is going to have to, this is going to have to go longer. So let me get you back. All right. Excellent. There we go. Let me get that tidied up. And this one's going to go off, and I'm going to just switch it. Okay, I'm just actually going to move all this, the bench scraper into the sink. And then just do a little wipe. There we go. Paper towel. Yeah. I'm going to do that one for 5. All right. Let me get this cleaned and get that wiped a little bit. I am so thirsty. I don't know if it's my sandwich or what. Dad said the original. I love figgy jam and cheese. Oh, I agree. I think fig jam is absolutely wonderful on a charcuterie board with cheese. That's how I've used it. We made this cocktail with it. It was a riff on a bee's knees. Andy actually liked it. It was his favorite. I love bee's knees, and I just didn't think it was that great. I didn't care for it so much. But I think fig jam with cheese is absolutely delicious. I'm with you. Okay, so let me see here. Just going to wipe up some of this jam. There we go. Okay, and I want to make sure that's dry. So this is definitely not clean yet, but I just want it dry for my next rugelach. All right, so let's get that. So this is our filling, of course, that we made. So good. Chocolate. We're going to need some melted butter, so I'm going to get that. I'm going to melt it in this. Here we go. Get some melted butter. Just going to put that in. Melt it in the microwave. I never have luck with this. I feel like it always splurts on me, so we shall see. Hopefully it'll do okay. I'm going to actually put a paper towel over and under it to help protect a little bit. We'll see if that works. Let's see. All right, and I do want a little more cinnamon sugar to help with rolling out because we're out of that. Let me just watch the butter first. Let me see. That's starting. Let me get my brush. I just have silicone brushes anymore. That's kind of what I use. I do prefer the feel and the how it performs, but I just like the cleanliness of the silicone brush. So it's funny. It's one of those things that I kind of go back and forth on, but I just think I feel better with the silicone, so I kind of stick to that. I've gotten rid of, the only one I haven't gotten rid of is I have one brush that I use for cleaning my coffee grinder, and other than that, I don't use any more of the regular pastry brushes. I just stick with the silicone ones. All right, so we've got that. Let's mix a little bit more sugar and cinnamon. Hey, I wondered when you were going to come out and. Oh no, I meant just because of we've got well, this one's going to be out soon. The walnut ones, they're almost ready. Almost ready. I put in the fig walnut ones. The palmiers are ready, but I would say wait. The ones that you really want are the ones that are in the oven right now. And there's not that many of those. I just did those for like some of the cookie trays and stuff. Those are my grandma's Anise. Don't touch those yet because those are curing. Because they'll cure. I'll cook them. You're the one that's going to help me remember to cook them in the morning when we have coffee when I'm a little bleary. And even if I growl at you, just remind me that I need to cook those off.
Gee.
Even if I growl at you.
Gee, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. He seemed happy with that request. All right. So I'm just getting my cinnamon and sugar. More cinnamon, Arch. Now, Archie, if you were making these, and if you don't, because Rugelach are just outstanding, and they're very common around here, especially at Jewish delis. That they'll have bakery and baked goods there, Rugelach. But if you didn't like cinnamon, you could either use a lot less, or you could just leave it out. It would make it a much more like a sugar cookie, but it would still be delicious. And like I said, you could just add less cinnamon. These are pretty cinnamony because I like them that way. All right, so the first ones are ready. They have been in 20 minutes on convection. So that is the time that was suggested anyway. Let me show you how these look. These are how I like them. I like them to be nice and brown. So if you can see that there? They puffed up. You can see they got all nice and puffy. So I'm going to let them cool for just a minute. And then I'm going to bring them over and put them on my racks. And that's where everything will finish cooling completely before I put them in the cookie tins. So while those are cooling, did I turn it off? There we go. While those are cooling, I am going to get our other ones ready. The last ones are the chocolate ones. And of course, if you make Rugelach, you can make them all the same. I just like doing the three different kinds. I just like the variety. It's kind of, for me, it's a way to use the same dough, but have 3 different flavor profiles. So you're not doing the work of making 3 totally different cookies, but you're getting 3 different profiles, which I think is kind of cool. All right, so let's get some of this cinnamon sugar on the bottom. Get that off. And let's get some cinnamon sugar on top and do our little process that we've been doing. Okay. There we go. Up my rolling pin. There we go. Getting this rolled. I don't want to knock off my butter. So now it's chocolate time. And for as much of a chocolate lover as I am, you'd think I would have more chocolate. But don't forget that my biscotti that I made this year, even though I did them a little differently, they are going to be dipped in chocolate. And also the shortbread cookies that I'm making, I'm going to be dipping some of those in chocolate also. You don't have to. I actually love shortbread, not dipped in chocolate, but the Loopy Whisk, where I got the gluten-free recipe from, she recommends dipping one end of them in chocolate. So I'm going to do some of them that way, and I'll do them whenever I dip my my biscotti, because I'll have the chocolate already. The one thing that always escapes me, and I'm not sure if anyone's, I know Mom's still on, but I don't know if Archie, if you're still on, or Eugenia, is the one thing that still eludes me is tempering chocolate. I have tried so many different techniques and ways to temper chocolate, but I still get chocolate that after a while gets that white, waxy look, or what, I'm not even sure how to describe it, but and there's a name for it. I can't remember what they call it, blooming. It blooms, and it's not the kind of blooming you want. And there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't affect the taste of the chocolate. It just makes it look not as nice. And so I have dipped chocolate, made chocolate bark many years, and I have never been able to avoid that. And it's a bit of a bummer just because after all that effort with things, to have that happen, it's just a bit of a bummer. Like, right, you kind of want things to turn out a little bit better if possible. So if anyone has had success with tempering chocolate and has like a foolproof trick of a way to do it. I did find another site that had, it's very similar to what I've heard, which is, you know, adding a portion of the chocolate at the end and just waiting till it all fully melts. And, you know, I've tried all that and it still has not tempered properly. So if anyone has any other ideas, I would love to know. Okay, so this is our last one, and we're going to do some melted butter first. This one's a little special that way. So we're just going to brush on some melted butter, and I'm just going to pour some on so I don't get cinnamon in this butter. There we go. So this is going to have extra decadence, just a little tad bit more. There we go. And then we're going to put our topping on, and this will actually also help that topping to adhere a little bit, okay? And I have more topping than I need, I can tell right now, but that's okay. I'll figure out another use for it. I really have a lot more topping than I need. So I should have made like a quarter of this, but that's all right. Okay, way more topping than I needed, but you never know. It's the first time and it's all good. And then I need my pizza cutter that I just cleaned. There we go, and we're going to do our usual. We're just going to go in half. I'm very excited about these chocolate ones. We're going to cut our pizza pie. So I run, whoops, uh-oh. That happens sometimes. Okay. Get more filling there. It just stuck and it kind of came up and over. And again, I want to thank for this chocolate filling Bakes by Brown Sugar for your filling recipe. I appreciate that. Okay. And one more, so we have 16. That's the magic number we're looking for. Okay, and then we're just gonna, oh, I need my pan. That would help. So before I can roll these, I need to get these off the pan. So let me go do that. Let me go put these on the racks, and I'll let Hubs know he can come get his. Let's see, put these here. Hey, Hubs. Okay. And you know what? I can't tell which one it was that I was going to do because they all look so good. So even the one I thought that wasn't going to look so nice, it actually, all of them looked great. So I'm just picking a small one. That's what I usually do for my tastings. I just pick the small one. So I'm going to try this one of my walnut. You can see there how cute they are. Let's try this. It is so good. They're so good. They're so good fresh. They're so good cold. They just don't disappoint. They are absolutely delicious. They are foolproof every year. So delicious, so tasty. Mom, I wish I could like just send one through the line. Hey, Andy. Let me go get him because he wants those warm. Delicious. Let me go get him. They're perfect. Get it now. You want to get it now. Yeah, they're really good. All right. So those are good. I'm just going to brush this off because, again, this is where the chocolate's going. You get some of the, yep, everything came off. And we're going to roll these up. So just pick like one of the smallest ones that's over there.
Okay. Uh-oh, low battery.
Low battery.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Okay. Friends, 1 second. Low battery. All right. All right. I'm going to tap this. We're going to have to use a different kind of We're going to use a different kind of microphone because my battery's almost out. This is what happens when your phone gets older. It does not last as long. So let me get this plugged in. The sound's going to change. Whoops. I'm going to have to move this a little bit different. Let me see. If I get this to reach. Oh, it reaches. There we go. Okay. So sorry for the weird askew look, but that's just going to have to be. All right, friends. So my battery.
Oh, yummy.
Thank you. Well, now they can hear you because it's all open. They probably can hear you better than me. All right, friends. So my battery is going on my phone, so we're going to have to take away the good microphone.
Man, those are good.
So sorry about that. So the sound was really good for a while, but this sound isn't terrible. It's uh-oh. Now it's showing it's frozen. I froze. Oh no, I froze. Uh-oh. Why'd it freeze? Oh dear. Huh. Is it still frozen? Mom, is it still frozen? Oh dear. Oh shucks. That's so strange. Okay. I know it's super delayed, so let's see. So, Mom, if you can hear me, let me know if it's still frozen. I'm going to put a reaction to it, see if. So I'm just, oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. All right. It looks like we should be okay now. Everything good? Can you see me now? Okay, I think it should be okay. Well, I'm just going to go finish. I'm going to finish. Apologize about that. The battery. Luckily, Hubs came out to eat because he saw that it was low battery. So we had to unplug I had to take out my special microphone because it's plugged into where my charger goes, and I had to plug my phone into to get charged. So I apologize for that. I'm going to roll these arugula up so they can go in. I'll just get these rolled up real quick and let them bake off. And these are our chocolate ones. Super excited about these. So I'm not putting anything on top of these because the other two have walnuts. The regular walnut ones, I forgot to cut one part. The regular walnut ones have, they have no filling, so you can tell they don't have jam. The figgy jam ones, you can see the jam, and then there's a walnut on top, so that signifies them because it's walnut figgy or walnut fig rugelach. And then these are just chocolate, so you're just gonna see that chocolate filling that's inside. So I'm really anxious to see how these turn out. I mean, as Ina would say, how bad can they be, right? But yeah, I'm anxious to try this. These are gonna be one that I'm gonna be very excited when they're done, just to see how they come. And then I'll decide, like, should I do this next year or should I go back to putting the little mini chocolate chips in there? So we'll see. And I'm sure I will get opinions from my family when they eat them because, we're the kind of family that would definitely tell, if we like something or if we liked it better the other way. I think the hardest thing is when people disagree, right? Like someone likes it the one way and the other one likes it, or someone likes it a new way and someone likes it the old way. So then I'm just going to have to make a decision if that happens. So, yes. But these look really promising. Okay. And I've seen the chocolate rugelach, in the bakeries, and they always look different because you could tell they had more of a filling, not just chips or anything. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have this version. But rugelach, to me, are such an easy, lovely looking, and delicious tasting cookie. The dough isn't hard to work with because you use all this sugar or cinnamon sugar, so it doesn't stick. And then you don't have to worry about how
much your circle looks like a circle or a rectangle, or if it gets split on the edges, because once you roll it up, all of the stuff that was on the edges isn't on the inside and no one would know. They just see the pretty little point that's at the end and how they make this beautiful like crescent shape. It's almost like a croissant cookie, but not with all the layers of the flaky dough. But it's definitely like that in the shape, right? And here are our chocolate Rugelach, and they are ready to go in. Let me show you. Here are the chocolate Rugelach, ready to go in. Okay. So they're going in. We'll set the timer for those. Let's see. Timer. I'm just going to put them in for 20 minutes because they've all been cooking for 20 minutes, so I'm not going to do the whole 15. I'll be peeking and seeing. I'm noticing that my head is cut off, so I'm going to just put this up a little bit. There we go. Wait, move this chair a little. Excuse me, friends. Okay, there we go. All right. By the way, for anyone that is watching from afar or on the chat, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future. This one, of course, is just a kind of a real life stream. It's just what I'm doing, literally. I do this once a year. I have my baking day, and so it's just trying to give people a glimpse of what that day looks like. And yeah, so now what I'm going to do is I need to tidy up because the last cookie, those are ready. So we've already set it for 5 more minutes. And these are our figgy. These are our figgy ones. Show you our figgy ones. Go this way. You can see these are the figgy ones. You can see the jam poking out. So we're gonna let these cool for a little bit, and then I will put them over on the racks, and we'll use that pan for our shortbread. So I'm gonna tidy up right now. I need this for our shortbread. I'll hubs out to paste the thick ones. Yes, I know I was frozen. Thank you. Thanks, Mom. Have a good evening. Thanks for hopping on. Yes, so for anyone watching, I apologize. It was frozen because my phone ran out of juice, and so yeah, so I had to definitely stop that. So my apologies. And by the way, I know not everyone's comfortable with chat, but you are more than welcome to pop in and say hello. There was someone new that popped in and said hello, and that's all they did. They just popped in and said hi. It was nice to know and welcome someone new that was watching for the first time. So you don't certainly have to do that, but don't ever, you're always welcome. Okay, so let me get this bowl ready so we can make our gluten-free shortbread. That's the last thing I'm going to be making. Let's get this stuff washed. There we go. All right. Get these rinsed. Baking days, that's what you're doing in between things, is you are getting your stuff all cleaned and ready to go so that you can use it for another set. So as I mentioned earlier, my sister is limited to gluten-free due to stomach issues she has when she eats gluten. And so, she's done this for a long time, and we've adapted, and Christmas cookie baking time is difficult with that because all the cookies I make are, they aren't gluten-free. And so one of the content creators, the Loopy Whisk, she makes I think, all gluten-free items. And I've been wanting to try some of her, there's many things I wanted to try. She's got fabulous recipes, and she shares them on Instagram. And I've been wanting to try one of the recipes for a while. And this one came up with shortbread, and shortbread is something I enjoy making for the holidays, so I thought that would be a great one to substitute gluten-free flour and try these. So this is my first recipe that I'm trying from the Loopy Whisk, and I'm really hopeful about it and excited about it. So I'm going to share with you not only, if it's easy to work with, all that stuff, but I'm also going to share with you, one second, how good it tastes, right? Now, I have a friend who is celiac, and when you have a friend who's celiac or a family member, it's much more serious. It's like an allergy at that point. So when I, when I make these, I'm going to make sure and use, I'm not going to use this because this is where I've been making all of my gluten cookies, so I'm not going to be using this. I'm using another surface. Actually, I'm just going to use my counter, and I'm going to wash it down very well. And then I'm going to be using a separate cookie sheet, one that and that is not my usual cookie sheet, and it's going to be one that's going to be freshly washed very well and make sure there's no traces of flour, so that my friend can also enjoy these cookies. So let me first, I'll wash this again, but I'm going to get this out of the way so I can use my countertop for the shortbread. I'll wash this better later, but right now I just want to get some of this stuff off here. And then I'll get this washed properly later. Okay. All right. So put this aside for right now. I'll get this washed later. Okay. This in there. Let's see. I think it's time to try those sticky ones. I think we can see how those taste. And I will continue to heat up this here. I don't think I'm going to need any of those. I'll just do a better tidy here, friends. Thank you for your patience. We're getting things ready. Get the recipe out. Shortbread. There are a couple different steps we're going to need for that. I don't need my cinnamon. I'll show you something that's not going to involve cinnamon, so that will be good for my friend Archie. Okay. There we go. Let's get some water running. So when someone has celiac, it's really important to make sure every part of the process of making your food is, and yes, there's another one to taste, babe. Make sure every part of the process of their food is cleaned up. Hi, Archie. I know, right? Yeah, I'm not quite ready for a cocktail, because you know me, those cocktails go straight to my head, so I need a clear head for this. But Hubs is going to try, we're going to try the thicky ones, the big walnut. So, do you want to pick one of these small ones?
You can
Oh,
get
you're going to stay off camera?
this stuff.
He's staying off camera, because he's still in his workout clothes like I am. So
Whatever
we
it
will,
is.
and I'm going to take the small one. So this one we've not tried yet. Oh, that's good.
Really good.
They're really good. So it tastes similar to the walnut one,
Like with fig.
but it has like almost not, it's
A little
not
sweetness.
a little more sweetness, and the jam, even a little bit, is not juicy, but it just gives it like,
It's really good.
it just gives it a little something something.
Obviously the same
Very good.
makeup, but it's
I really like that.
tasty.
I might even say, just saying, I think it elevates the walnut. Like, you know, for years, I've been making these for years, are the walnut have always been my favorite, just the plain walnut. They're simple, they're delicious, but in my,
You like that one better?
I actually like that one better. It actually,
I mean, I like it.
Yeah,
I
to
don't
me
like
it-
it's what I-
oh wow, so. Anyways, but one second, we need to, you gotta stick around a second. I'll tell you one second. But it actually, to me, elevates the walnut. So yes, so thank you so much. So I need you to just, can you just chat a second, because I have got to go use the little girl's room. And maybe get me some more water, or not. You don't have to, because I know you don't want to go on camera. So, but I do need to, and I don't luckily have a microphone on anymore, so I can do that in private. I'll be right back, friends.
So this is awkward. So what have you made so far? You made 3? I wonder if, she never makes chocolate chip cookies, which is what I want, but I know it's not a very Christmas-y cookie. Are you making the normal Christmas cookies?
Which one?
Like the sugar cookies?
No, the shortbread ones I'm going to make next are gluten-free. I'm trying gluten-free
Ah, okay.
for Nancy.
Okay. So has she been keeping up with this? Oh, it looks like Scott and Papa are on, and yeah, they were froze. I heard that it was frozen here. And Archie's on, Matthew's on. It sounds like it was a good
Nature
stream
call.
so far.
And even though I wash my hands in the bathroom, I'm going to wash my hands a second time, but you just like you need to when you're on stream, and you just use the little girl's room. Yeah, nature was calling, and I was like, I need to take care of that. Oh my lord.
So what else are you going to make today?
So today
Like,
I'm
what-
making
what are
the
cookies?
shortbread ones. Just one more.
Just one more?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
this
I'm gonna
tomorrow.
taste, then I'm gonna taste one of these.
No, but there's a chocolate one you want to taste.
Which one?
Chocolate. You want to try the new chocolate ones I'm making.
Oh, well
The
then,
chocolate rugelach.
okay, then there's 2
Well,
more.
it's not. It's really one rugelach, but one rugelach done 3 different ways. Done with
No,
walnuts.
I'm not gonna have the chocolate. I'm
It's
gonna
different.
have, no, but I'll have one
You
of
can
these
have one of
because,
Did you pick the small
Yeah.
one? Yeah, good. But you gotta try the chocolate ones, they're done differently, and I wanna know your opinion on it, okay?
okay.
So, you must, and you must to help your wife. Okay, so I'm gonna actually get this even more clean.
How long is that until we,
That's gonna be done in 8 minutes, but it needs to cool for at least 2, so about 10 minutes. Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. All right. Okay, friends. By the way, it's a long stream. So right now it's 3:30. I started 3 hours ago. Yes. So it's one of those long ones because I'm just cooking, and so I'm just giving you a vision into what's going on here right now. And the next thing that's going to go is my laptop, but I will make sure I look at that in enough time. So let me give myself some water. If you are making, sorry if the sound is a little bad, by the way, too. But if you are making, this for a friend, any celiac, you want to make sure you prep your dishes, your working surface. You just, a crumb is bad for them. So, you have to take it seriously. When they have contamination, it's called. It makes them quite sick. It's very uncomfortable. And then the end game, the reason they have to avoid all gluten is because it has a reaction in their body and it does bad things to their systems. And so it can lead to other kind of diseases if it is not kept in check. So I have 2 friends that are celiac, and I know that it is quite serious business. And, and it's funny because I know it seemed like around here, I don't know how it was in other parts of the world, but it seemed like gluten-free kind of almost became in vogue at one point. And my sister certainly wasn't gluten-free due to that. She has struggled with some, different, digestive issues throughout her life. And she was always trying to figure out what was causing it. And then she kind of figured out through omitting certain foods and then reintroducing them, and it was gluten. gluten was the thing, was the trigger that, so she doesn't have celiac and she got tested for it, but she just really, does not treat her well. So she would love to be able to eat gluten like the rest of us, but it does not bode well for her when she does. So, but there's a difference between someone even like that and someone with celiac. So I know that with celiac I need to be very careful. So I'm going to actually over here, when we're doing my baking, I want to actually look up at the top of my mixer and make sure that that is clean, because as my mixer is going, I could have a chunk of flour, small pieces of flour that could fall into the bowl, like unwittingly. So, and that's all things that I've learned through having conversations with my friend who has celiac. You know, she's married and her husband does not, and he does the cooking, and he's very careful. And so there's a way to cook for people that you care about that have celiac, but it does take being detailed and being very careful so that there is not a way of getting contamination, as they would call it, into their food. So I am going to actually, one of the things I'm going to do, because I did wash my pans, but I'm going to give them one more good rinse, and then I'm going to dry them now that this surface has been fully cleaned. I have a fresh new towel. I'm going to give them one more rinse and then re-dry with another fresh towel. So again, just trying to make sure that there is absolutely no way that there is any gluten on this bowl or on that mixer paddle that can possibly interfere and come into contact with the food. Because again, and this is all the measure of statistics, because obviously I'm not giving all of these cookies to my friend. These are part of the cookies I'm going to be having, but when I give some cookies to their family, I'm going to have some of these on a separate plate. That's another important thing. For my friend is I want to make sure that they aren't contaminated. So I'm going to re-rinse this and re-dry it with a towel that is fresh. So you just want to think when you're cooking or cleaning up ready for them that everything is fresh. Everything is fresh to go for cooking, serving, plating, like all of that, right? I'm looking here, making sure there's nothing that could have gotten in, and we're good. So that one's good. And now I also want to I'm going to take these cookies off and put them out to cool. So let me do that. Yummy cookies. Move these over. I will show you the final cookie table at the end for anyone who still has lasted that long. I know this is a really long stream, and I'll also show you how my grandma's cookies look thus far. And when I put the shortbread to cool, they will not be cooling near these cookies. They will be on their own mat and cooling. It won't be these racks that I've been using back here. It'll be something different. All right, so I can I'm not putting that there. I don't want to contaminate that. So we put this here. I'm going to throw this away. We're going to get a brand new pan for the shortbread cookies. Actually, you know what? I am going to need to use this pan. So I'm going to give this a good scrubbing. So thank you for your patience. This is the love that we have for friends that might have something that we need to make sure we're being very careful in catering to them so that they can stay safe. Give me a good wash, and I'll dry it with that fresh towel, the orange one. Usually, that's one of the reasons I love using parchment. Usually I wouldn't even give a cookie sheet a rinse because, the parchment paper has protected it. But with this, I just want to make sure there isn't a crumb, there isn't a speck that could contaminate it for my friend who has celiac. Okay, Hubs is You can write me a note. Okay, so now I'm going to dry this with that clean towel. Okay. And then I'll get a clean piece of parchment to put on top. This, you see, has such a beautiful patina from years of cooking. All right, so thank you all for your patience with that. Let me get my parchment. Okay. There we go. This is for the shortbread. All right. Okay, there it is. It's ready to go. That one is ready. Ooh, and these are ready. So I'm actually going to put this up out of the way over here until our other one's cool. So let me get these. Oh, these look great. And they smell chocolatey and cinnamony. Let me show you how these look. So these are the chocolate rugelach. You can see. How nice those look. So we're going to set those to cool. They're too hot to try right now. And I'm going to look at the temperature I need them for my, let me see here. I didn't write down the temperature. Well, luckily I put it up here. So let me go check and see what it is. Let me see for my shortbread by Loopy Whisk. All right. Let's see here. See what the temperature is that these are going to cook at. Oh, yes, I know. Alright, let's see here. Okay, these are going 350. Okay, so I'm going to do 325 since I'm doing it in my convection. Alright. I'm going to read some directions. Okay, alrighty. Sounds good. Okay, friends. So, you know what, friends? I think what I'm going to do is, I'm just thinking right here. Okay. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So, friends, time to fix them. So for our gluten-free orange shortbread, you don't have to do this, but I've read from her reviews that everyone loved the addition of the orange to the mix. And so one thing we're going to need to get ready is we are going to need, wait a second, I have some 1 tablespoon. Let me just get one more thing, friends. I do need one little extra piece of butter. So let me get that, because it's going to be 1 stick and 1 tablespoon. So I want to get that tablespoon ready because my other butter is completely softened. And I want to make sure I have this extra tablespoon all set as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in my microwave. It's a little bit warmer. And that should soften by the time I need it, hopefully, right, friends? Hopefully, fingers crossed. All right. We are going to get some orange juice. So we're going to need zest and we're going to need juice. So let me go get an orange. So she talks about the zest of 2 medium oranges, but I have a big orange, so I don't need that. And I also have some oranges that Hubs uses for, but you know what, I'm going to keep these there just in case they have been contaminated. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking again about keeping this very contaminant free. So here's a fresh orange that has never been used. I'm going to give it a good wash, and we're going to zest it, and we're going to juice it. I'm looking for, in juice, I'm just looking here, let's see here, how much? 2.5 tablespoons of fresh orange juice, so that's not a ton. Let me get towel to. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So now I'm going to get my plate, to put the orange zest in. There we go. And get some zest. And I feel confident in this being fine because I have never, with this one, I've never used this for anything on bread. It's always been just cheese or nutmeg, things like that. So this one would be fine. And I need a little piece of paper towel to keep it steady here because otherwise it's going to whip around. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to get this orange here all zested because the zest has flavor and color. The oils that are in the top of the skin are fragrant and delicious, so we want to get all of it. There we go. I will tell you that I had a light lunch today, and even though I've had a couple of cookies to try, I am getting hungry. I might need to get a snack. Let's see here. Oh, this smells so good. I love orange. I don't know. I have a clementine every day for lunch during the week. It's like my little, I look so forward to it. Clementines are the perfect size, the perfect little snack size. And just smelling the orange oils when you peel it, to me, is like just some of the best aromatherapy. And it sounds really silly, but I look forward to it every day. It is just one of those simple delights that makes my day. Like, I look forward to it. And it's like a natural way to perk up if you're feeling a little bit sleepy. Because, right, when we're on a job, we can all start, like right now, I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. Not that I'm gonna fall asleep because I'm standing and busy, but I'm just feeling the weariness. And that's one of the things when you have these cooking days that you're doing all this cooking for your family, it can be a little weary, for sure. All right, oh my gosh, this is outstanding. So, all of that great orange peel. So we're done with that. And then we're gonna juice some of this orange. We don't need a ton. A little dish, and these have all been cleaned by a dishwasher, so I know they have done an excellent job. And so I'm also going to get my juicer. And of course, I know with juicing that, I'm not using any gluten products with that, so that'll be fine. And let me see here, I'm just going to go down. And that way, and get these juiced. Okay. Oh gosh, the orange smells so good. So good. So we're just juicing. It's best to, for a large orange, navel orange like this, it's best to cut it into 8 sections. I don't think we're going to need all 8 sections. So I'm just going to keep cutting until I can visually see that I have about 2.5 tablespoons. I think, oh shucks. I think half an orange will actually do it. I think that'll be fine. Like this. It'll probably even be a little more than I need. So you definitely want fresh orange juice for this. You don't want, no matter how much you like your juice that's in the carton, that is not the juice you want to add. You want it to be fresh orange. It doesn't really matter which orange you use, but just that it's fresh. So I'm sure this is enough. Let's just, what else am I going to do with that little hunk of orange? Now what's nice about this one is my half of orange that's left, while it no longer has the skin on it, it's still quite pretty. So I feel like that will look nice as, just to add into a drink. Now it's going to be missing the oils from the skin, but if you want the garnish of just seeing the juiciness of an orange, like an orange wheel, that will do the trick. Oh, that is exactly what I needed. So there is something else I need because I am getting a little bit hungry, and I had earlier this week made some homemade mashed potatoes, so I'm going to be having those. I'm sorry to eat while I'm cooking, but hey, I'm cooking cookies in front of you, so I figure I could probably eat some mashed potatoes in front of you. So the story goes, by the way, that at Thanksgiving, I made Thanksgiving at my sister's place, and I made mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are one of my favorite foods, and I don't make them very much, for a couple reasons. One reason is that they are a little time consuming. They're not hard, but they just take longer when you're busy, you've worked, and you come home. I'm not thinking often, let me make some homemade mashed potatoes. And when my kids were growing up, they actually did not care for mashed potatoes, so we didn't have them unless I had them out. We only had them when I made them for Thanksgiving. So, you know, it kind of became that mashed potatoes were a very special occasion dish for me, right? And when I made the mashed potatoes this past Thanksgiving, I was taking home some of the food and I left the mashed potatoes there because mashed potatoes are naturally gluten-free and I knew that my nieces loved them, so I left them there. And that is quite an act of love because I love mashed potatoes. They are one of my favorite things. And so to leave the extras there does not, I mean, it sounds all normal. Those aren't warm enough. It sounds all normal to you, but it's not actually normal for me. It's giving a person who might think I am, because like, well, that was hard. So I determined that I was going to make some homemade mashed potatoes at some point before Christmas, just for myself. And so Hubs was had a late event this week, and so I made them this week on Thursday, and I had some left over. And I think those would be just the trick to have for a snack. So I've got my orange peel, I've got my orange juice. Where did I put my orange juice? Oh, there it is, okay? Oh God, that smells so good. Look at that. Oh, it smells divine. And the other things we're going to need is we're going to need sugar, and this I'm not going to be measuring by weight, by the way, because I have my weight measure. I'm also going to clean it off. Definitely needs to be cleaned off. Because I don't want anything to give its way that way. Okay, so we measure. This is all clean. Nary a crumb or anything on it. There we go. Should be done. Let's put a little butter that we're softening in here. All right, it is ready to go. I'm very excited about that. This is gluten-free, so I don't have to worry about this. So I'm going to snap while talking and making, just because it is that time when you do a long stream like this. And you know what? I'm using a spoon. When you have a long stream like this, you need this. So let me get some salt and pepper. They've already had copious amounts of butter on them. I'm just going to take a little bite. Delicious. They do thicken up. They are delicious. Okay. I feel much better already. Very good. Okay. So sugar, oranges, unsalted butter, vanilla bean paste, and gluten-free flour, and cornstarch, and salt, and fresh orange juice. Let me show you the gluten-free flour I'm using. I've tried a couple of different kinds. This will be my first time trying this kind. This is Arrowhead by Arrowhead Mills. I've heard great things about it. In fact, I think this is the kind that the Loopy Whisk recommends. It's all-purpose flour, gluten-free. And what she said to do, because it depends if you need to add xanthan gum. I'm not sure I said that right. But it depends upon if there's some in the flour. So I'm going to look at the ingredients of my flour to see if there's any included, because if there is, you don't want to add any. And I do have some of that because I've made other things for my sister and needed to add it. So this does have it in it, so I do not need to add any xanthan gum. If you're using a gluten-free flour that doesn't have it in it, you would want to add some. And it's also a powdery kind of material. So here's our flour, and we also need cornstarch. So let me find my cornstarch. I know I have it in there. I'm just going to figure out where I've got it. Oh, right here. Yay, I thought I'd have to go looking. It's right there. So I've got my cornstarch. All right. And vanilla bean paste. Let me get the vanilla bean paste. And I think it's time for us to put these cookies. And this is left, but I have some new stuff. It's time to put these cookies over on the cooling. There we go. We're going to 1 teaspoon. So let
me try the chocolate ones for you. Try this one. They're just so pretty. And I gotta wash my hands well then since I'm making this. See? Look how nice. So these are the chocolate rugelach. Wow. These are so much better than the way I was making them. I was going the shortcut way for years, where I would just roll up. I did the cinnamon sugar into the dough, and I'd roll up little mini chocolate chips. And those were tasty. But it is so much tastier because the chocolate is spread across the dough. It gives you a much more chocolatey experience. So much better. I really enjoy that. That was an upgrade. So I really appreciated baked spike brown sugar. So friends, I'm gonna put these over to finish cooling. I'll be right back. But thank you. That was a great recipe. I'm glad to know that. Okay, so I'm putting these here. And then I'm actually going to take one of these racks and bring it back over and get that clean too, so I don't forget. Okay, so take this out, throw it away. We'll wash this later. Wash my hands, and we'll get back to the recipe. Delicious. Okay, so I'm just checking out my battery on my laptop, and I'm going to get that one hooked in, just so I don't have an oopsie with that either. Let me just get that. Oops, sorry about that. Just get it attached. Okay, we're good. One more bite of mashed potatoes. Sorry, friends. This little break is sorely needed. So good. Okay, so let me see how I'm going to do this. I think right in here, let me just look at the recipe again. Okay, so I've got my sugar. Let me check one thing on her recipe. I have it right here. So I am going to add the sugar and orange zest to a large bowl. Use my fingertips to rub the zest into the sugar. Then I will add the softened butter and vanilla and mix well with a rubber spoon. Okay, all right. So I get the process is a little bit different, but I'm excited. It's going to add lots of good flavor. Let me make sure and wash this also, because make sure again being ultra careful for celiac. There we go. With my clean towel. All right. So this will help keep my bowl steady. This is just one of those silicone. It's actually a an oven mat or mitt, but it's also good for keeping a bowl steady. Okay, so to this, I'm going to do the sugar and orange zest. So first let me get the sugar measured, and the sugar is, I keep losing my stuff where it is 100 grams. So let me put that here. We've got grams, we've got 100. There we go, 100 grams. So that's 73, 98, 99, 100, 101. I know that being just slightly off is going to be totally okay. So we have 100 grams of sugar right there. And then we are going to take our orange zest and we're going to add it. Spatula, I'm going to clean that spatula again just to make sure that there is nothing on it. I'm going to use my super fresh towel that we've done with all of our re-washed things. Okay.
And I'm going to add these to it. And then I'm going to use my fingertips to rub it into the sugar. You gotta try the chocolate ones. They are outstanding in my opinion. I've never been, like I liked the chocolate ones before, but I just was like, yeah, the nut ones are so much better. Those chocolate ones are so much better. So I'm going to start it with my spatula, and then I'm going to use my fingers to work it in. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use my fingers. What do you think?
Those are really good.
Aren't they really good? Like so much better doing chocolate that way.
Well, how'd you do the chocolate?
It was from Baked by Brown Sugar. It was some of the fine chopped chocolate that we have from the Williams-Sonoma hot cocoa, you know, that chocolate. And then brown sugar, cocoa powder, and cinnamon. And you spread some melted butter on the dough. And yeah, but I thought it was outstanding. So I'm just taking the back of my spatula, friends, and I'm just doing this to mix and incorporate the sugar into the orange peel, so it's going to highly season the sugar. I'm not doing my fingertips like she's suggesting, just again because of this for a friend with celiac. I don't want, if there's by any chance anything under a fingertip, I just want to be super careful. But it's literally making the sugar orange, and it just smells amazing. It is the best aromatherapy. Like if you want to cook something that is also like this amazing sensory experience for you, do this recipe. That's amazing. All right, so after we do that, we're going to add the softened butter and vanilla, and we're going to mix it with a wooden spoon or rubber spatula until combined. So it isn't saying cream or aerated. Okay, so I'm not using my mixer. Interesting. All right. Okay. So we're just mixing this in the bowl. I wish I would have used my clear bowl. You would have all been able to see better. But alas, I didn't. I should have read it ahead, right? Okay. So to this, first we're going to get a bite of mashed potatoes. Softened butter. And I have one more in there. And then vanilla. Okay. We've used a lot of butter today, my friends. We've definitely helped the dairy industry. I have an extra tablespoon in there. It's not as soft as the other one, but it should be fine because the other one's so soft. And then, what'd she say? And vanilla. And we need, for this, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's see here. I have a whole new one, but this one I've got to use up anyway. So there we go, a teaspoon of vanilla. This is vanilla paste. If you're using this, so this is vanilla paste. If you're using vanilla extract, she recommends 2 teaspoons. But I do have the paste, which I love, and I get my paste on Amazon. I'll put a link below of the paste that I like using. I do not get money for this, it's just what I recommend. Another bite. Okay, and then we're going to stir in the gluten-free flour, the cornstarch, and salt, and we're going to mix it together until we get a fairly dry mixture. Then we'll add the orange juice and mix until the dough starts to come together. Okay. All right, I'll come back to this in just a second, friends. I'm going to actually sift the ingredients together because I know that often that works better. So that was my plan. I'm going to have another bite. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these mixed together. Move that over. I'm just going to use this spatula because it gives me a lot of power. So I feel like I can work it in easier that way. If you have a favorite spatula or, wooden spoon, you could use that. I'm not going to use a wooden spoon because I feel like my wooden spoons that I use are used more with other things. And again, I'm worried that there could be something older that's in that wooden spoon that could contaminate this, since it's for someone who has celiac. I don't want to do that. I want to be super careful thinking of all those things. So I'm making this glorious creamed sugar butter with the orange peel. So good. Okay. That looks good. Do not aerate, she said. I don't remember if I did that with my other shortbreads. They turned out well, but she said it can make it spread too much. Alrighty. So that's done. Now we're going to be measuring out our dry ingredients so that I can add them. So I'm going to measure them out onto a bowl. This has gone through a dishwasher. Using my rag I've used for all of this recipe stuff, I'm going to just go through and make sure there's nothing on there. I'm going to use, you know what? I'm not going to use a sieve because that might have something in it. I'm just thinking out loud, I'm going to use a bigger bowl, and then I can use my whisk to aerate it. That's what I'll do. So I'm just thinking through things. So I just want to make sure I'm careful. So let me think. Got this one. I'll wash it one more time before I add the flour there. It's already been washed, but I'm just giving it another rinse just to make sure that nothing could have dropped in. Give it a dry. And this is where we'll measure out our flour and our cornstarch. All right. Oh, and we did add vanilla to that butter and orange and sugar mixture. All right, so there we go. I'm also going to look for a whisk. And I'm going to do one that to me is going to be better to use because I first of all use it, I don't use it very often, and it doesn't have anything funny business here that I have to worry about, so I'm just going to give it a wash one more time and a dry one more time just to make sure there's nothing that could be there. So that's a good tip. If you're sifting and you don't want to get out, one of your fine colanders, you can just kind of whisk it together to get out any lumps that acts like a sift. All right, so we're all set there. Put that back. Another bite of mashed potatoes, finishing my snack. Okay, so to this, we're going to be measuring out 260 grams of gluten-free flour. Let me cut that. If you're measuring the another way, it would be 2 cups and 2.5 tablespoons. But I will say, even though most of my recipes I use aren't measured in weight, weight is the easier thing to do, or in the better, more specific thing to do when making baked goods. You get a more precise measurement with a better product. Okay, so back to it. So 260 grams. So I'm going to turn this on. Okay, 260 grams. You just pour it until you get there. We're 256. 260. We're there. Bingo. 260. And then 60 grams of cornstarch. And what makes this easy when you're doing it is you can keep putting your value back to 0 and just keep adding, so you don't actually need to even dirty anything else, which is nice too. Okay, so we'll put this back to 0 and what? 60 grams of cornstarch. Coming out super easy. There we go. We're at 53, 57, 60. All right, 60 grams of cornstarch. That over there. A half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to just get some fresh salt to just make sure. That's another thing I can do to make sure that's not contaminated, is just do a fresh half teaspoon, so it's not from my salt cellar.
that's a good thing to consider. The salt cellars, if you use them all the time, you can have, flour on your fingers. There can be lots of ways that could get contaminated. So we're going to do a half teaspoon of salt. Go. Right. And anything else? Let's see. We have sugar, butter, paste, flour. We're good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and move this over. I don't need this anymore. And I'm just going to take my whisk and just incorporate all the materials, all the ingredients here. There we go. All right, and they're good to go now. I'm going to finish off my mashed potatoes. Oops. All right, so there we go. So now it's time to make the dough. So I'm just going to start adding. You know what? I'm just thinking out loud. Oh, that's fine. I'm just trying to think of how to get this incorporated. So I'm going to actually spread my buttered sugar up the sides. And I'm thinking maybe that'll help me incorporate it a little bit more. Okay, so we shall see. Let's hope that that works, right? I'm just bringing this around. Trying to incorporate this. And then the moisture from the orange juice will help it come together, right? Okay. Scraping the sides down, getting off the stuff on the bottom. Okay, it's fairly easy to do. So kind of right now, let me show you what it looks like. See, it's just almost like when you're making biscuit dough, it's just kind of like coarse sand, maybe wet sand, or slightly wet sand, it would have the consistency of. And then the orange juice is what's going to help it come together. All right, so I'm going to slowly pour in the orange juice. We are going to be using, I think she has here 2.5 tablespoons. So I'm going to get this, which I know I just used, is clean. I'm just going to wipe it again just in case. And I'm just going to scoop and add. So here's one. I'm actually going to just do both. And I won't do the half yet. See if this comes together with both of those. Nope, not quite. Oopsie. That is a bummer. It came off. There we go. And maybe I'll need a little bit more moisture. Let's see. I know I'll need at least a half. Let's see here. Okay, I can always add more. That's one thing that's good about the moisture is you can always add more. So I'm actually going to start getting my fingers in there. So it can come together. So we want it just to come together. I think it is. Okay. So then I think we're ready. I think that's just about it. So then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take my, my parchment paper and bring it over because it'll help to actually do that on there, and she mentions that. So let me bring that parchment paper over. And then we can use that to help scoop back in. All right, so first, this there. I'm just going to add maybe a touch more. Okay.
stuff here is just a little bit dry. You just want it to come together. I've worked with shortbread dough before. You literally just want it to come together. It's a very dry dough, which actually makes it easy to work with. You just want to make sure you get to the point where that comes together. Okay, now I'm going to actually go like this. Just do a little bit of kneading to get all the parts in. You go around and get all the little parts that are trying to escape. Now, one thing they talk about is that we're going to cut these into sticks, and they can sometimes be a little bit hard to move onto a cookie sheet. So that's why we're going to do this here. We can always put it in the fridge, but I'm also thinking that I could just transfer this to the cookie sheet itself, and then that would help. So that was kind of my thinking. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to get this spread out. I need to check a recipe and see exactly the dimensions that I want. So let's see here. Okay. So I want a rough rectangle about 1 centimeter thick. Okay. So that's going to be interesting. All right, so we're going to do our best. 1 centimeter is awfully low. So the one way we could do it is we could roll it between parchment paper. So that's one thing I could do. So I was a little worried because my rolling pin obviously is not gluten safe. So I was kind of a little worried about that. So I was trying to think like how we could do it. The other thing, I guess that would be fine then, because if I did it covered, then there wouldn't be any gluten that would get over to it. So that would be, I'm just thinking out loud, a safe way to do it, because there's no way through pressing I'm going to get this down where it needs to be, for sure. I can just tell you right now, there's no way. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, nonetheless, I'm going to wash my rolling pin, and then I'm going to put another new piece of parchment paper on top, and we're going to roll it. So we're going to do that. So let me just wash my hands, which are a bit greasy right now. So this became more of a process than I was expecting, but yet I'm glad to do it because, again, I want to make sure I can make something safe for my friend to eat. Holiday. All right, so now I'm going to wash well my rolling pin that comes into contact with gluten. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a couple of things to safeguard it. One, I'm going to wrap it in plastic. And number two, I'm going to put the extra piece of parchment paper on top. So those two ways should ensure, and I'm also going to dry it first with the towel I've been using, and then I'm going to dry it with the other towel that I've dried all the other things with. And again, this isn't necessary for someone who's just gluten sensitive, but for others, this is important. Okay, and now I'm going to wrap it in plastic. This is my safe. Well, just this over here. Get some plastic here. Again, this is just to, again, further safeguard. Because I do need the tool for sure. There we go. Okay. All right. And then we'll get another piece of this wrap. Oh, and this one I washed, so I can put that right there. Isn't that the one? No, this is the one. Okay. Another piece of parchment paper, and we're going to start spreading. There we go. All right, let's see if this method works. Okay, so spreading it, trying to get it to an even thickness of about 1 centimeter. Still about half an inch. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm thinking right now, because when I usually make shortbread, I made it into these little cubes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some, I'm going to do a version of her. She has these adorable little sticks. I'm going to make mine some into cubes and some into the shorter sticks to dip. And the cubes I will leave. Regular for just snacking. Because one of the things I love about the shortbread I make is just little bits that you can only just pop in a little bit. Like, to me, that's just delightful. So then I want to get a good knife. And I want to wash that a second time. Lots of washing. Lots of washing. Okay.
Still on?
I am. Lots of washing. It is 4:30. Oh my lord, this has been a long stream. Holy cow. Okay, and then I'm going to lift this up. That might actually, we'll see. I don't know if we'll need that, but we're just going to keep it there in case we do need it. All right. And then I'm just going to start cutting. Okay, so she makes, all right, I'm just thinking out loud, friends. So I'm gonna make the ones in the middle be these lovely sticks. And then these, that's just gonna be an ugly stick, and then these are going to be kind of cubes. Okay. And I'm just gonna, because I don't want to waste dough. That's the one thing with shapes, is sometimes there's dough that's wasted. So I'm gonna actually make them like little parallelograms. My little math knowledge here. Because I really enjoy the cubes that I make, because people love to just snack on them. They're just like, you can always pop, a little cube into your mouth for a little sweet something. So I'm gonna have both. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay these cubes out. Just gonna put them all out. They're not gonna be in any great design order, and then I am going to make the sticks also. So I'm going to get my cubes. Does that make sense to everyone? Because when I make my shortbread, actually a lot of times there's orange in here, so I wasn't going to do that for these, but a lot of times what I do is I put in some different colored sugar, like red and green sugar, to make it more festive for the holidays. But with the orange peel, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to compete with it. And the little orange specks are showing. So to me, that's like the festive part of it. And these just all cook up separately. I like to have these in a bowl, and people can just pop them in and snack on them. Like, they're just, I think it's when I had these first at a cookie exchange, I just thought that was such a delightful way to have like a cookie, that it could be something that's almost like candy that you just snack on. That was quite cool that way. So and then I have a couple little pieces, and those little pieces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually push them together to make a larger one. All right, so I've got my little pieces here. I've got my little cubes. And then these little pieces that are here, I'm going to form together into one bigger piece. Actually, I might just put that here. You know what, that's what I'll do. I'm gonna just make a different shape. Because we can, right? This is like a formable cookie anyway. So I'm just gonna make like a bigger square. I mean, like, just be creative. Now, these are the ones that I actually want to take a little more time with. So I'm gonna cut off the edge, because I want these to look really pretty. I'll save these scraps for later. And then here, I'm going to cut down the middle for this, because I don't want them to be that long. I want them to be a little shorter. Okay, so then I'm going to just make these individual shapes. These are like what she had done. Little planks, and then one end of the plank we will dip into chocolate. Not during this stream, but I will do that later this week. Okay, and then just to get these off, I'm actually going to click over here. They're heavier, so they're going to work better like that. Yeah, there we go, and they are transferring quite well. Very pleased with how they're going. There we go. I'm sorry, I have been ignoring the chat. I don't think anyone's on, but I'm just going to peek just in case. And I can turn back to look at the cooking information. Eugenia, oh my gosh, I know, right? I don't know if you're still on because I didn't have the chat showing because I was really engrossed in making these gluten-free shortbread, but they are coming out. I'm pretty pleased, to be honest, with how they are turning out. I like shortbread myself, and the dough is working just like the shortbread doughs that I have made before. It's, pretty easy to work with. I'm making these sticks that I can dip into chocolate, and then the other ones are going to be more like little nuggets of yumminess, like almost like you'd have in a jar with candy, but they're little cookies. They won't be coated in chocolate. Just that you can just kind of pop in. Like those are good to put out and put on a table. If someone needs a little something sweet, right? So yeah, so that's kind of how we're doing with this. And so I'm just gonna get, I'm gonna keep these going like that. So I'm gonna get these, and then the rest of these I'm gonna cut like cubes. The rest are gonna be cubes of the other ones. But these I will do in chocolate. So these will be the extra special ones. And honestly, these are probably the ones I'm going to give away, both to my sister and to my friend who's gluten-free. So yeah, I think these are going to be great. All right, and then these remainder ones, I'm just going to cut into the cubes like I had. And then we're going to bake them off. I have to look and see the baking information. I don't remember offhand. I'm going to stick with parallelogram thing and get these off.
Can't tell you how good it smells out here.
Does it smell good? That's what happens, right?
Ridiculous.
All right, so just get these all spread out. I'm like bringing the rug with me. Do you think I need to spread all these out a little bit closer? I think I have them actually too far away, and that's just not going to be practical. And this stuff doesn't spread, shortbread doesn't spread out, so they can be close. You just need to make sure that they're separate, so they look like separate pieces. That's the main thing. So I'm going to get these all tidied up and spread out, and we'll get these in the oven.
You've been on the stream for like 4 hours.
I know.
How you doing?
You
holding up?
I'm exhausted. This just took so much longer than I expected. And it wasn't so much the other ones, but I think I had to be so careful with this recipe because this is the one I want to be able to give to Fran. So I had to make sure everything was cleaned well and would not be contaminated. So this recipe itself took longer than it usually would. If I was making just for my sister, I wouldn't have to be quite as fussy as that, as diligent. That's a good word. Look at Hub's coming up with a good word. I love that. Every once in a while. So this has all been very well cleaned and vetted. And so now I'm just gonna cut these in cubes and these are going to go in. Now friends, I will say that because of my exhaustion level, that I am not gonna be able to hang on here on the stream till they are cooked. But if you are following me on, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter, I will certainly let you know how these turned out on those two venues. I am on Instagram, but I don't post as many like by the way posts. Like this would be more of a by the way post. I made these gluten-free cookies and they turned out fabulous kind of thing, right? So that's just, I probably won't do that on Instagram, but on I'll do it on my YouTube community page, which I do like to post a lot. And there. So let me show you how that came out.
So what's the difference between the ones that
So
are
they're the same
spreads?
dough. They're all this shortbread dough that has orange peel and orange juice. So it has a little orange in it. And let me smell it.
Yeah, no,
Did you smell it? Yeah. So these are just in the way I usually do them, where they're just nice little cubes that we can just pop in our mouth. And then these are going to be one end dipped in chocolate.
Oh, cool.
So just to make it more special. And these are good for putting on like cookie trays and that kind of
It's
thing.
almost like the Biscotti used to do.
Right, but shortbread.
Yeah.
But shortbread. Yeah. All right. So let me just, so people, before I sign off, I also want to let you know how this is going to bake. So this is going to bake, let me see here, 350 for about 15 to 18 minutes. I'm having mine at 325 because I've got my convection on, so it'll be a little less, maybe 13, 15 minutes until light golden, all over with only slightly golden, darker golden brown ends. All right, so and these have to cool completely, almost completely for like 10 minutes before they're transferred. So they're gonna go in, put them in here, right, and what did I say, 15, no, I'm gonna do 13, checking at 13. All right, okay. Oh my goodness, well, it's exhausting anybody having a baking day, but it's especially exhausting when you've been live. But friends, for anyone, I know most of my friends have had to go about their day. Of course, this is a very busy time. But for anyone that is still watching, thank you for hanging on for so long. This is just what I'm doing, and I'm going to be finishing this up this evening. It's a stay-in day because today was all about cooking, and the cooking hasn't stopped. Actually, let me show you what we have so far, just so you can see. I know these cookies aren't out yet, but just so you can see what we've got so far. And I can actually unplug this so that I can bring it over here. So these are my grandma's Anise cookies, Anise splotchen, I think they're called. You can see how they've spread. You can see that they are dry, actually. They're no longer shiny. They have not formed those feet, the iconic feet that I will be looking forward to seeing either later tonight or tomorrow. And then we have here our cinnamon Sugar Palmiers. Here we have all these are Rugelach. These are the not pecan, the walnut Rugelach. These are the fig jam Rugelach with walnuts, and these are the chocolate Rugelach, the new way I was doing them, where I made this chocolate spread, and they are fabulous. So what I still need to do is the biscotti I showed you earlier. Those still need to be dipped in chocolate. I will need to do the dipping of the long shortbread in chocolate, and we have to figure out if I'm making a chocolate chip cookie. So I was thinking about making the brown butter ones, but it won't be tomorrow, it would be this week. So
I actually said that when I was making comments at the end of the show.
I'll have to put check my stamina. But I feel like after making the brown butter ones, I feel like I've got to make, like it's kind of up the game. Like I feel like I can't just have an ordinary chocolate chip cookie after
I'm good with that.
Okay. So, yeah, exhausted right now, and my hat's off to all of those who are also exhausted but baking to their heart's content to please their family and friends. And this is my last live stream for the year. My next drop will be next week on Wednesday by 3 p.m. and it's a video that I worked on earlier that I'm going to be finishing up the tech with and dropping next week of my grandma's famous pecan rolls. She called it affectionately Pecan. And that will be next week on Wednesday after the holidays, and again by 3 p.m. I'm hoping to drop it in the morning, but definitely by 3 p.m. So friends, thank y'all, and happy holidays to whatever holiday you celebrate. For those that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. everything. So, and until we eat again, bye friends.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us, absolutely.